Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Neglected Naruto is a dragon rider harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Jom666 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Kanehagir no Sato, or Konoha for short, is one of the strongest village in the elemental nation, with it surviving 3 shinobi wars and also the Kyuubi attack, as well as producing the strongest Kages to ever live, who were Hashirama and Tobirama Senju, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Minato Namikaze. But now comes another legend who will take the elemental nation by storm, so put your guns on. October 10th, 5 years after the Kyuubi attack. How could they do this to me, thought a boy with sun-kissed blonde hair, wearing a white shirt and blue pants as he ran towards a forest. Why is he running into a forest, you ask? To answer that, let's us start at the beginning. During his and his siblings' birth, a masked man attacked the village using the Kyuubi, but his father Minato Namikaze and the 4th Hokage used a special seal and separate the yin and yang chakra and put it inside his younger sister, whereas the soul was put in his younger brother to act as a medium for the chakra. After that was said and done, the supposed seal did not take Minato's soul but spared him due to some technicality in it. He then told the people what has happened and announced that his children be treated as heroes because of it. The crowd cheered for their savior, but unknown to them they have already forgotten their firstborn child. Back to the present, this child that was running is that forgotten child. His name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and all his life he wanted nothing more than recognition, because throughout his life he was ignored and pushed aside because of his younger siblings. With it, his parents did not care for him, and so did the villagers. Every time his siblings were treated like royalty while he was the extra baggage, and his parents were no different, as when he suggested something, they would choose his siblings over him, and they even forgotten his birthday. But today was the day that broke the dam in his heart. Today was his and his siblings' birthdays, but as usual only he was forgotten, sans a few who were Asuma, Guy, Kurenai, Anko, Itachi, Mikoto, Hiruzen, Yugao, and even the Ikrakus. Even his godparents Jiraiya and Tsunade forgotten him, but for different reasons, as the former thought about a prophecy, and thought he was not it, while the latter couldn't get over the death of her younger brother, and sees the same thing inside him, and because of it she couldn't look at him in the eye. While he was getting presents from the people he knows, his parents announced that his sister will take both the Uzumaki and Namikaze seats respectively, while his brother will be trained to become the Hokage, and it didn't help that his godparents decided to let them sign their summoning contract. And with that broke the dam in his heart as he ran towards the forest, not caring about everything, as he cried all the way straight into a cave. Once he stopped, he looked in awe as he saw a small lake in the cave, and in the middle was 6 swords stabbed into the ground and a scroll in front of it. He slowly walked towards it as he saw a tombstone that said, "This here lies the one-eyed dragon of the north." As soon as he said that, the swords glowed for a while before dying down, revealing a man with medium-length brown hair with an eye patch on his right eye. He was wearing a blue kimono with gold dragon design. He eyed the kid and then asked him, "This, what are you doing here, kid? This place is dangerous, so go back to your mommy, okay?" "Would love to, but they don't care about me," said Naruto. The man raised his eyebrow, and Naruto then told him about his life, and the man was shocked to hear about him, and he thought about it before telling him this. "Hey kid, do you want to learn from me?" Naruto raised his head as he continued, "Your life is kinda same as mine, cause my mother didn't want me to become head, and I can see you have determination in your eyes, so how about it, kid? You want to learn how to become like me?" Naruto then hugged him while crying out yes until he calmed down. "So what is your name?" "Mine is Naruto Yuzu, just Naruto," he said grimly. "Well kid, my name is Masamian Date, and I am the one-eyed dragon. Now that introduction is out of the way, are gonna train you in Taijutsu and Kenjutsu, while the summons will train you in Nin, Gen and Funjutsu." "You have a summons?" Naruto shouted. With a grin, Date said, "Yep, so put your guns on because tomorrow starts your training from hell." Naruto then gulped. Time skip graduation test. The sun shone down on Konoha as Naruto woke up from his bed with a smile. Why? Because today was the day he could drop his silly mask and graduate to become a shinobi. He now stood at a good 4 feet 15 inches with a medium-length blonde hair like Date. His face was voided of fat, and his body was that of many girls' wet dreams, 6 packs with no indication of fat. As he ran towards cave, he thought about what happened in the past year. He met Date and got his summons. The training was tough as Date trained his body to its peak and even taught him how to wield his swords, while the summons taught him Nin, Gen and Funjutsu, and he did well in all of them, especially Funjutsu, as he had a knack for it. He went into the cave and saw Date with a smirk on his face as he saw his surrogate brother running towards him, but also sad because of what is gonna happen. "Hey kid, how are you?" said Date. "Fine, because I am gonna take some names and kick some asses," answered Naruto. "That's good kid, but today I gotta go, but don't cry kid, because I am next to you no matter where you are." Naruto looked sad at the declaration, but that did not deter him, and he gave Date a hug and said thank you. Date gave Naruto his eye patch and handed him his dragon claws as well as new threads. "Take care kid, and take care of the younger summons, would ya?" Sure. And with that he faded away. Naruto looked at the clothes and put it on, and the eye patch on his left eye while his waist had the 6 swords that Date gave him. Then he headed to school. When he headed to class, he heard that his teacher Iruka was trying to calm the class down, and being a helpful guy that he is cough. He kicked the door down, and with it the class went silent as they saw Naruto walked in his new clothes. I don't know how to describe Date clothes, but it is his battle armor without the helmet, and left part of the clothing is black while the right side is white. As he walked in, some of the girls drool a little because of his new look except for one. What do you think you are doing, Naruto Baka? Do you think you can be cool like Sasuke is? Shouted the pink-hair banshee who was named Sakura. Shut it, bitch, cause I think the people from Kumo could hear you. Which shocked the class even more because they thought that he had a crush on her. What was all she could say before anyone said anything else? Iruka quieted down the class to start the test. Everyone's mind was on the changes of Naruto, especially two who were his younger sister, which were Narumi Uzumaki Namikaze and Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze. Nisan, what happened to you? Said Naruko. She had a shoulder-long hair which was yellow in color like her father. Unlike what most people think. She wanted to be Naruto so that he doesn't get left out, but couldn't because of her fans and her parents and godparents' training, so she couldn't find the time to talk to him, and when she did he just disappeared to thin air. Looks like he managed to get his act straight, but he will still probably screw this up. Why did he have to be born into our family? Thought one Narumi Uzumaki Namikaze. She had a waist-long red hair just like her mother, but she has always berate her older brother because he could not do anything but pranks around the village, and because of it she thinks it is breaking up the family. HNN, like the new look is gonna do any good, you failure. Said one Kenzo Uzumaki Namikaze. He has red hair like his mother, but it was untamed like his father, but his personality is that of a pampered brat, and because of it even his sisters don't like him. Now we will start the written test, said Iruka as he handed out the papers. I am gonna skip this until the fight because nothing noteworthy happens here. Now it's Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Yuzu. Wait, Naruto said, interrupting Iruka, my full name is Naruto Date, not that useless name. He declared boldly, and the others were shocked again because of it. Okay, would Naruto Date come to the ring? Both fighters were at the ring as they square off. So, Dobe, are you ready to lose? Said a duck-haired boy who is Sasuke Uchiha, one of the few survivors of the Uchiha massacre by the hands of his older brother Itachi, who killed all but him. His mother and a few others, and like Kenzo he was spoiled rotten because of it, and it turned him into a guy with a god complex who demands that everything is given to him on a silver platter. Nope, duck, but so let's rock, baby. Iruka then started the match, and then Sasuke charged with a punch to the face, but Naruto sidestepped and knee him in the gut. Sasuke stumbled a little and Naruto capitalized by giving him a chop to the neck, knocking him out. Silence swept across the field as the so-called dead last beat one of the Rookie of the Year in less than a few seconds. The class went back in as they headed for their ninjutsu test, which was the Bunshin, Henge, and the Kamawari. Narumi, Naruko, and Kenzo did it perfectly, but they had to use the Kage Bunshin as a substitute because of their high chakra coils. Naruto did his perfectly also by henging to Iruka, switching places with Sasuke and doing 2 perfect Bunshin also. Iruka nodded at this and gave him his high 8, and he went home for the night as he waited for his team placement tomorrow. Uzumaki Namikaze's mansion. Kushina Uzumaki was humming a tune as she was preparing a celebratory dinner for her children Narumi, Naruko, and Kenzo, but her mind drifted for a second to Naruto. She frowned as she thought about her firstborn, as she remembered that she did not spend any time with him because of the younger siblings' training, and it hit her. She did not spend any time with him because they keep pushing him aside and keep taking his brother or sister's idea instead of his. How could I neglected my own son like this? I'm a horrible mother. I hope that's not too late to make it up to him. She thought to herself as she makes the family favorite ramen for everybody and then tried to get Naruto back into the family. As night time came and everybody was at the table and Kushina set the food on their table before she realized that Naruto was missing. Where's Naruto? He should have been back by now. Asked Kushina. Who knows, he's probably lost or something, who cares? Answered Kenzo. Kushina was shocked at how her son said like that about his own brother, and as she was about to scold him, Minato said, don't say stuff that you don't know about, maybe he's out with friends or something and forgot to tell us. So, he's been nothing but a failure to the family. I don't even know how the teacher even let him pass. He passed? Said a shocked Kushina. Yeah, but he's nothing before the son of the Yellow Flash, said Kenzo proudly. That might be true, but if he could stop goofing off, maybe he could at least learn something and maybe even be trained by mom and dad, said Narumi. But he beat Sasuke in a few seconds and earned his high 8. Don't you think that counts for something? Naruko told them. Big deal, I could do that blindfolded and he probably just got lucky, countered Kenzo. He's probably right, Narumi. I mean, he did nothing more than just playing pranks and goofing off, so how could he have beaten Sasuke, who was tied with Kenzo for Rookie of the Year? Was probably just that, dumb luck. Before the talk could escalate, an ANBU came into the room telling the Hokage, this Hokage-sama, Someone stole the forbidden scroll and we confirmed that it was Mizuki. What? Hurry up and find him. Sorry Kushina, I have to go. Minato said and he disappeared in a yellow flash. No way I'm gonna sit this one out, come on Narumi, Naruko let's go we can take care of this. Said Kenzo. Wait you are not going out there mister, you are staying right here while I try to find where Naruto is just to make sure he's safe. Kushina said to them as she went out but not before locking the whole house in seals to prevent them from trying any funny business. She went to the forest because she had a feeling that Naruto is there so she followed it, and once she reached there she heard what sounded like fighting. When she got there, she was shocked at the sight of because there he was, Naruto facing off with a 7-foot-tall humanoid tiger who was bleeding profusely all over his body because of the cuts and a stump where his left arm should be and Naruto was grinning with a sword dripping with blood on his right hand. Naruto a few minutes ago. Naruto was walking down the road back to his so-called home if he could call it that since they always ignored him his whole life so he decided to take the long way home when a blur passed by him and was heading towards the forest. Smirking, he decided to follow it thinking something is about to happen. When the blur stopped at a nearby shed, Naruto saw that it was Mizuki who was talking to a couple of ninja with a musical note on their headband and that he had a scroll and was ready to give to them before he took action as he jumped and slammed his sword to the ground calling out phantom dive and an electrical shockwave went right at them and knocked them out by surprise. They recovered and saw Naruto standing in front of them smirking at them while tapping his sword on his shoulder. Mizuki laughed saying this it's just a failure of the 4th Hokage's son, don't worry he isn't anything. Says the guys who got blown away a few minutes ago, countered Naruto. That was just a lucky shot, a fresh out of school genin can't beat a Chunin like me along with 2 more Chunin. Mizuki said with a smug on his face but that look soon faded when all of a sudden Naruto appeared in front of him and gave a downward slash sadly he barely dodged it but he still got a shallow cut from the shoulder to the waist. One of the sound nin threw shuriken at me while the other charged at me with a kunai on hand. Naruto used the sword to deflect the shuriken and then clash with the one with a kunai. Mizuki joined in by throwing a Fuma shuriken at Naruto, but he pushed the sound nin and slashed upward to cut the Fuma shuriken in half. The sound nin shouted out sound decapitating waves and a burst of wind come straight at Naruto. He countered by blocking it by it pushed it to one knee. Well is that all you got? Said one of the sound nin. Not to worry, this dragon's still got plenty of scales. Naruto said, and then jumped back then took out 3 swords in one hand and thrust them forward with speeds that they couldn't see as he voiced out Magnum Step and one of the sound nin got caught in it, and was skewered by the swords then Naruto throw him up still impaled by his swords to the sky shouting out Death Fong as the sound nin was ripped apart by the swords. The other sound nin tried to run away but Naruto quickly sheathed 2 of his swords and suddenly he charged his sword as lightning surged through it, and all of a sudden he shot a lightning ball out from it, and said Hell Dragon. The ball hit the sound nin and the sound nin screamed in pain as the ball of lightning hit him, and fried into a crisp. Mizuki saw both of his partners got killed by a genin without any problem. He stood his ground before Naruto looked at him while still wearing that smirk on his face and he told him this so Mizuki, do you want to give up or do you still want to tango with me? Don't get cocky you brat, I will show you the power that was bestowed to me by Lord Orochimaru. Mizuki told Naruto as he took a vial of liquid from his pocket and drank it. He then turned into a 7-foot-high humanoid tiger with a white fur and black stripes. Well come on kitty let's play. Naruto taunted as he gave a come on sign with his hands. Mizuki charged at him and attempted to slash him with his claws but Naruto rolled underneath it, and then he jumped giving a downward slash. Mizuki put his arm to block it thinking it would help him but then the sword cut his arm like a hot knife through butter. Mizuki screamed as his arm dropped on the ground and his remaining arm clutched his now stumped of an arm. Using the distraction, Naruto charged at him and then slashed him multiple times with 4 swords -2 on each hand's dash, then ending with a cross sweep as he called out his move Crazy Storm and with it, Mizuki's body was riddled with slash marks but that didn't kill him but it did make him drop onto his knees. He then groggily tried to stand up as he glared at the boy in front of him as said boy was grinning at his misfortune. Present time. Kushina stared in shock as her son was facing off with a monster and as she was about to help him, the monster roared and charged at him while Naruto was still grinning at it and then charged challenging his confrontation and then a streak of lightning shone down as both of them clash and then they were on opposite end like in those final showdown samurai movies. Naruto grunted a little as Mizuki smirked as he thought he won but suddenly he dropped to the ground as his neck had a deep cut and he was bleeding out from it. Here lies Mizuki dead at the hands of a genin, guess that would be good on a tombstone. Oh well time to pack up and go home. Naruto then turned to see his mother standing there in shock and also there was his father along with his ANBU analyzing the carnage there. His father asked what the hell happened here. And all Naruto said was this it is as you see right here, the one-eyed dragon has slain his first few victims and he's itching for more. While lightning strike as it shone behind him. And with that, the one-eyed dragon returns. Hokage Tower? After the Mizuki incident, Naruto was taken to the tower for questioning and right now he is finishing it. Let's see how it goes. And that's about it anyway, we done yet? Said a bored Naruto. Minato was looking at his son with a critical eye as he was comprehending the situation, then he gave a big sigh and said, so Mizuki stole the forbidden scroll and you saw this, followed him to the forest where he was talking to ninjas that had a musical note on his hide which you engage all 3 of them, and killed them, correct? Yes, I killed them. Okay, can I go now cause I need to catch some sleep? Said an annoyed Naruto. Okay, you may go for now but we will talk again later, alright Naruto. As soon as he finished that, Naruto just flashed out of there, shocking those inside. Minato, did you teach Naruto the Haracian? Asked Kushina. No, I didn't, Kushina. Then how did he do that? But unknown to them there was a small crow outside their room who disappeared with a poof while the occupants inside tried to ponder where he got that just to. Naruto's room. A flash shone in the room as Naruto appeared from it when a tinge hit his head a little. Well, too bad I didn't have a camera because that look on their faces was priceless. Well, time to catch some Z's. Morning, classroom. Naruto got to class and found out there he was the only one there first, so he waited for the rest to come. After a while, the students started to come in and most of them were heirs to their respective clans. Well, except for the howler monkey, those who came in were Shikamaru Nara, who has his hair tied back like a pineapple, Chuji Akimichi, a chubby person who always has a snack in his hands, Shino Aburain, who always wears his dark sunglasses and a jacket that covers everything except the top part of his face. Next was Shino Aburain, a boy who wears dark sunglasses with a coat that covers everything except the top part of his face. Hinata Hyuga came in next wearing a big coat. She used to be a shy girl, but after hanging out with Narumi and Naruko she managed to get some confidence in her. Another to come in was the Inuzuka heir, Kiba. He wore a jacket with a hood and he had 2 red fawn painting on his face. On top of his head was his partner Akamaru. Then came Duck but Sasuke Uchiha with his brooding face on. Next came the 2 loudmouths of the class, Ino and Sakura, and lastly came the Uzumaki Namikaze trio. Ino and Sakura continued to argue until Naruto slammed the table and shouted to the heavens, will you 2 shut the hell up? Jeezy, are you both dumb and blind? Because he is sitting in the middle, you twits, and that means that there are 2 seats next to him which are empty, so would you 2 just sit down and shut up before I swear to all that is Kami I will show you my dragon claws up close and personal, got it? To which they quickly sat down and shut up. On cue, Iruka then came in and looked onto his students with some pride on his face as he announced the team placement. Alright class, I am proud to be called your teacher and may the will of fire burn brightly in you. Okay, Team 1 will be, skipping unimportant people, Team 7 will be Sasuke, Sakura and Sai. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the last name but was put out of it when the Banshee shouted something about true love and he unleashed some of his ki on her. She turned to see him glaring at her, so she did the smart thing, which was to shut up and sit down. As I was saying, Team 7 sensei will be Jin Uchiha. Team 8 will be Kiba, Hinata and Shino under Kurenai, while Team 9 is still in circulation, so Team 10 will be Ino, Shikamaru and Chuji, whose sensei will be Asuma. Naruto sensed the dread coming in as he hoped that his sixth sense could be wrong this time, but sadly it is not. And lastly will be Team 11 will be a 4-man cell with 2 jounin because the numbers aren't balanced, so this team will have Narumi, Naruko, Kenzo and Naruto, who will be under Kushina and Kakashi. In which the Uzumaki Namikaze trio smiled at this while Naruto slumped to his seat and grumbled. A few minutes later the jounins came and picked up their students. Among them were a raven-haired beauty with red eyes wearing what looked like bandages around her body, a smoker who has a cloth with the word fire tied around his waist. The one next was wearing a bandana and has a sword on his back, and he had a kid next to him who has pale skin and he looked like he had no emotion, to which Naruto smirked. Well, this is interesting. So this is your move, huh, you one-eyed mummy? Oh well, one more burned root won't make much of a difference to me, but let's see how it goes first. Lastly 2 people came in, both wearing normal jounin attire, but one of them has gravity-defying hair and a mask that covers his lower face, and his height was slanted to cover his left eye, while the other has a waist-long red hair with a sword on her back. Team 7 on the roof, and with that everybody went to the roof. As everybody got ready on the roof, Kushina started the conversation. Okay, even though we know each other we still need to do the introductions like this. My name is Kushina Uzumaki, my like are my family, my friends and ramen. My dislikes are perverts, rapists, scumbags and girls who give Kunoichi a bad name, and my dream is already done so I don't have any. Alright then, my name is Kakashi Hatake. My likes, my dislikes and my dreams, haven't thought about it. And with that everybody, even Naruto, had to sweat drop at that introduction. Okay, I go first. My name is Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze and my likes are my family and my friends. My dislikes are the same as you, mom, and my dream is to be the best kunoichi in the world just like you. Kushina smiled at her daughter's conviction. Next is me. My name is Narumi Uzumaki Namikaze. My likes are my friends. my family to some extent, and people who are serious about becoming shinobi. My dislikes are the same as Naruto, but adding in my 2 brothers and people who don't take things seriously. My dream is to be a successful kunoichi and clan head. Shay, how did I get a boring person on my team? Anyway, my name is Kenzo Uzumaki Namikaze. My likes are my family somewhat, ramen and learning cool justice. My dislikes is a certain blonde failure in our family, and my dream is to be the Hokage and kick said blonde's ass, said Kenzo with a smirk as Naruto just flipped him the bird while Naruto and Kushina were sad because of his deceleration. Guess I'm last then. Name's Naruto. Date my likes, that's for me to know and you guys to never find out. My dislikes are a certain family, people who's all talk and no bite, and a few more to be told another time. And my dream, that's easy because my dream is to be famous. Naruto and Kushina was curious because of the change in his name, but they knew it had to do something with it as they were quite sad when they heard his dislike for their family. Alright, now that's out of the way, tomorrow is your real genin test, so come to training ground 7 at 8 sharp, and if I were you don't eat any breakfast, Ja-eni, Kakashi said, and then disappear in a swirl of leaves. The rest of them stared at the space he was at a minute ago, and just shrugged at it. Alright, who wants to go and have lunch since it's still early? Asked Kushina. Sorry, gonna take a rain check, Kushina-sama. Got some stuff to see ya, Naruto said as he walked down the steps, but without noticing the face made by Kushina and also Naruto. Whatever, loser, come on mom, Naruto, let's ditch the dork, Kenzo said, and with that the family went on their day without Naruto, which saddened both Kushina and Naruto as they prepare for tomorrow. Training ground 7 next day. Everybody was at the training ground as they waited for one more person who is one of their teacher. If Kakashi doesn't get here soon, I am gonna burn his entire collection right in front of him, said Kushina dangerously as her hair flared into 9 tails, which unnerved the genin a little except Naruto, who was lying on a nearby tree branch. Kakashi came soon enough, and with an eye smile he greeted his team before inching away from Kushina as she was drawing her sword slowly. Thinking quickly, Kakashi quickly took out a clock and explained to the genin that they had to get the bells before noon or they would fail, and if one of them didn't get it, they would have to go back to the academy. Okay, that's about it, so ready, Hajime, Kakashi said, and everybody quickly jumped away and hid. Kakashi walked towards Kushina and started to chat with her while alert about his surroundings. So Kushina, how do you think they will do? I'm not sure, Kakashi. Narumi and Kenzo doesn't want to work with Naruto because they still think that he is still a weak person, but Naruto might since she has been trying to talk to him, and I'm not sure about Naruto at all. Don't worry about Naruto, I'm sure he'll put aside his differences and help them in a way, but I wouldn't hope much from him because from what I can tell from his results, he is somewhat weak. Kushina looked shocked at Kakashi's description of her son and was about to answer him before a giggle caused them to look at the tree where Naruto was sitting under reading the all-famous book that everybody knows. You know, if this has more plotline than the unwanted sex, then Jiraiya would be more famous and won't get his ass kicked so much by the female population. But then again, this book is written by a pervert who couldn't get any and has been chasing the same girl since his genin days, only to be denied every time. Oh well, it is a shame I have to burn this though. After all, it is to my number 1 fan Kakashi Hatake, signed by the great Toad Sage Jiraiya, Naruto said with a smirk. Kakashi's only eye bulged wide open as he felt his back pocket only to realize that there was nothing there. He looked at him nervously and asked, how did you get it? I didn't even notice it missing? Now that would be telling. So what's it gonna be, Kakashi? Your book, or the bells that you have? And if you try anything funny, I put inside here an explosive note, so I suggest you think about your options very carefully now, Naruto told them while leaking out his ki to show that he was serious, which shocked the two a little as they didn't think that a genin could produce ki like this. Now Kakashi was in trouble. If he gave the bell to him, no doubt that Kushina would just continue what he started, and he didn't, then he would do it himself. And it did not help that the book he was holding was a signed limited edition, while Kushina had a glare at him that said go ahead and try it. Kakashi was sweating bullets at the situation as his head was thinking, what do I do, but before anything else happened, a small chime was heard and both of them turned around to see Naruto holding the bells in her hand. How? Was all Kakashi could say. Easy, I used my killing intent to mask Naruto's presence so she could sneak up on you guys to grab the keys, simple as that, Naruto said nonchalantly. But how did you get Naruto to work together with you? Kushina asked. Shadow clones was all he said. They both looked at him and wondered how he managed to learn such a justu, but they saved it for later as Kenzo and Narumi came out of the forest with a scowl on the former, while the latter is glad to have passed, but she didn't like the way it was done. Alright Naruto, so who are you gonna give the bells to? Asked Kushina. I think I will give it to Naruto, Narumi and Kenzo because they probably deserved it more than me, said a very timed Naruto. Kakashi just I smiled at them and said you passed. The three look on in shock as Kakashi started to explain about the test, and by the end of the day Team 11 was formed, but unknown to all of them someone was watching them in the shadows. 3 weeks later. Since its formation, Team 11 has been doing D-ranked missions around the village such cleaning trash, painting houses and such, but the highlight of it all was that they beat the time it takes to capture Tora, the Demeo wife's cat, or in the minds of all Genin, the cat demon from hell. And how did they manage to capture such a beast in just 20 minutes? Well, let's just say that only 2 people in the group knows how to handle the cat, and said 2 are doing it right now as they finish the mission once again in record time in the mission room. A purring sound was heard in the room as the so-called demon cat from hell was acting like a normal cat. Why? Because Naruto and Naruto were petting it carefully, and from the sound of it the cat was liking it, while the occupants in the room had only one thought: how did they manage to make it act like that? They were brought out of their muse when a shriek was heard and a big woman came rushing in with a smile on her face as she grabbed the cat and put it in a tight hug. The cat was trying to get out of the vice-like grip of the woman as some of the occupants in the room were having some ahem thoughts towards the cat. That's right, tighter, tighter. Squeeze the life put of that miserable cat. I'd almost feel sorry for the cat if it didn't scratch me so hard on my face. Alright, Team 11, what mission will you have today? Trimming trees, painting houses, or all? Tora, come back. Catching Tora again, said Hiruzen as he was in charge of the mission's handout. Alright, old man, I've had it up to here. We've been doing chores for 3 weeks now. We are ready for some high-ranking mission, not stuff that the civilians are too lazy to do, said a pissed-off Kenzo as he and the others were sick of doing this, but they just shut up about it. Hiruzen took a puff of smoke as he looked on at the genin, and then he asked, what do you guys think? I'm sure that we can handle a low C-ranked mission after all, said Kakashi. Hiruzen was skeptical about it, but then he relented and motioned towards a door. The door opened to reveal an old man holding a bottle of sake in his hands. Hiruzen then explained the mission to them. Once he finished, the old man, who was known as Tanzuna, decided to make a comment. I ask for protection and this is all I get: a scarecrow, 2 girls, a guy who looks like he has a pole up his ass, a tomato, and well, you look good, especially the eye patch. Kakashi had to restrain Kenzo from killing the client, and Kushina was barely restraining herself. Naruto was grinning, then walked towards the man and said to him, you know it's not nice to drink sake like that. What, you some kind of monk or something? Asked Tanzuna with an eyebrow raised. No, what I mean is that you shouldn't drink sake like that without sharing it with me, Naruto told him as everybody was shocked at this, but Tanzuna just grinned and gave him the bottle, to which Naruto accepted and took a big swig of it. Snapping out of their stupor, Kakashi told them to meet at the gate at 8.30, and with that everybody headed back to prepare for their first mission. Gate entrance 8.30. Team 11 was standing in front of the gate as they waited for both their Jonin sensei to arrive, but they thought Kakashi will be late, so they brought some things to pass the time, but imagine their surprise that their lazy teacher was on time. Some of them thought it was a Genjusta, but when they saw Kushina next to him they put some of the pieces together as to why he was early, and with that they went on their journey, not knowing the dangers of this mission. The group traveled along the road in a diamond formation with Tanzuna in the middle, while Naruto was in front with Narumi and Naruko flanking both sides, and Kenzo took the back while Kakashi and Kushina hang back a little. They then noticed a puddle on the side of the road, as one thought was on the minds of the group except Tanzuna and Kenzo somewhat. All of a sudden 2 ninjas came out from the puddle and used a chain to skewer both Kakashi and Kushina. Head 2 down, 4 to go, one of the ninjas said with a smirk. But that soon disappeared as Kenzo threw a kunai in the middle of the chain, thus forcing them to let it go as they engaged in a fight with them. Naruko jumped out of the way as one of them struck her first. She countered by throwing shuriken at him, but he blocked them with his gauntlet. He failed to notice Narumi as she used her mother's famous chakra chains to grab his legs. He tried to struggle, but he couldn't get out of the chains, was knocked out by Naruko with a chop to the neck, whereas Kenzo parried the gauntlet with the sword he sealed into his arm before kicking the guy in the chest. Ha, someone like you can't hope to beat me, the son of the Hokage, Kenzo said proudly while the ninja gritted his teeth before being chained up by Narumi and Naruko using their chakra chains. It was then Kakashi and Kushina came out from the bushes and congratulated them on a job well done. They then soon found out that Tanzuna was lying about the mission ranked by inserting his sob story on how Gato took over Wave and whatnot. Afterwards Kakashi asked if they should continue and all of them agreed, which Tanzuna was grateful for. Shoreline. As the group walked towards the village through the forest, a rustling noise was heard and on instinct Kenzo threw a kunai at it. Naruko went in only to come out petting a white rabbit. Well, congratulations Kenzo, you almost had your first kill, said Narumi sarcastically, to which Kenzo just stuck his tongue out at her while Kakashi was in deep thought about the rabbit when a whistling sound was heard and Kakashi's widened his eyes at it. Get down, he shouted as he and Kushina tackled everybody to the ground, but Naruto just tilted his head back to allow the thing embedded itself onto a tree. As they regained their footing, they saw that the thing was a big sword embedded to the tree, and on top of it was a man who has bandages covering his lower face, white arm warmers, and his height was facing his left side while the logo had a gash across it. Well, if it isn't Kakashi of the Sharingan and the red hot habanero. I'm honored to have the pleasure of fighting you guys, but you shouldn't have brought some genin on this mission. Who knows what might happen to them, said the man. Zabuza Momochi of the Hidden Mist, an A-ranked missing nin. What are you doing here? Asked Kakashi. A job, of course. Gato decided to hire me to kill the bridge builder over there, so if you don't mind, hand him over unless you have a death wish. I don't scare easy because I am the son of the Hokage, you know, eyebrow freak, said Kenzo with a smirk on his face. Well then, how about this? Hidden mist Justu, said Zabuza as a thick mist covered the area. Stomach, brain, spine, heart, lungs, liver, larynx, these are some of the few places you can kill a human with, so which one should I choose to kill you with? Zabuza said to them with excitement in the mist while unleashing his ki, which scared Kenzo, Naruto, and Narumi, while Naruto just smirked as his blood boiled with excitement. Kakashi flared some of his ki and told them to calm down as he used a wind Justa to clear the mist, but that was a mistake as he and Kushina didn't realize that Zabuza was already poised to strike. Before they could say anything, Zabuza suddenly got stabbed in the stomach and everyone was shocked to see a sword sticking out of his chest. They followed the sword to see Naruto wielding it, but then Zabuza turned into water and then it splashed onto the ground to only then reappear behind Naruto mid-swing and slice him in half. Naruto! Kushina shouted because of the sight she saw as her son was cut in half, but only to see a poof of smoke that was in the place of her son. She sighed in relief at the scene but was distracted for a moment as Zabuza came out of nowhere ready to cut her in half with an overhead strike, but before he knew it, his sword was blocked by the kid that stabbed his water clone earlier. Not bad, kid, but you left your teammates with my water clone over there. Naruto just smirked, which Zabuza raised an eyebrow somewhat on his face before a splash was heard as he turned to see the clone turned into a puddle, in which he gave Naruto an opening to capitalize as he kicked Zabuza straight in the chest. That kick sent him flying a couple of feet before he managed to stop his momentum. I see that some of you have some skill, so what's your name, kid? Me, I am the one-eyed dragon of Konoha, Naruto date, and these bad boys are my swords, the dragon claws, and they are itching for some blood. Ha ha ha, not a bad introduction. My sword here is Kubikiri Bocho and is hungry for some flesh. Zabuza told him with a smirk on his face which was matched by Naruto's own, and with that, they charged at each other, clashing their blades as the group watched in awe. Just how strong is Naruto, and how did he manage to get this strong? Wondered Kushina as she saw Naruto blocking an overhead strike and countered by unsheathing another sword on his other hand to give a slash to his chest, but he pushed him before the strike could connect, and both of them clashed in a deadlock only to push each other off, and they stare at each other as they size themselves up on their opponent, looking for any weaknesses in them. It's been a while since I got a real sword fight, so bring it, kid, said Zabuza. Since you ask so nicely, let's go. Phantom Dive, Naruto told him as he used this skill, and a shockwave of electricity headed for Zabuza. His eyes widened a little and he jumped to the side only to see 3 swords coming at him as he heard a cry of Magnum Step. It took Zabuza a moment to react as he hefted his blade to his chest to block the attack, but before he knew it, the attack thrusted him to the lake, which he hoped he drowned in it, but instead his body skid on the water. He then stood up, quickly ran through some hand signs, and then called out water style, Water Dragon Justu. A dragon made of water came out of the lake heading towards Naruto, but he did something no one else thought he could. He jumped on top of the dragon and started water skating on it, which shocked everybody there. Even Zabuza has his eyes wide open at that. What the hell is this kid? Thought Zabuza as he blocked an overhead strike. He countered with a wide swing upwards, to which Naruto leaned back, allowing it to pass by him before he landed on top of the water and charged at Zabuza as he now was dual wielding, using quick strikes on Zabuza, but the sword couldn't cut through the makeshift shield of Zabuza's Kubikiri Bocho, but he managed to prevent him from using any Justu. That soon ended as Zabuza pushed him away for a moment as he created a couple of water clones to charge at him, while he prepared his Justu, but Naruto was having none of that as he fired a hell dragon towards the clones, which shredded them apart. Zabuza only had a moment as he managed to dodge the attack, but only for Naruto to appear in front of him with a smirk as he said this. This is the end, crazy storm. Zabuza had no chance as Naruto slashed at him continuously, cutting him at every part of his body. He screamed in agony before Naruto ended it with a cross sweep, sending his body back to shore, crashing some trees along the way before he stopped. Naruto walked towards Zabuza to see the carnage he created, which was a bloody Zabuza, but noticed that he was barely still alive. He was about to deal the final blow. A pair of senbons struck his neck, thus killing him, and a masked hunter Nin appeared in front of him. Thank you for wounding him for me. I have been hunting him for a while, but because I was not strong enough to take him down, so I thank you for helping me, said the masked Nin in a neutral tone. Naruto eyed the person and his eyes widened a bit before he smirked. He turned to walk away as he turned his head back a little before telling the person this. No problem, Hunter-chan. You just make sure that Zabuza is back to 100% so we could have a real swordsman match. Because I really know what it feels like to match up against a swordsman of the mist. See ya. The masked Nin widened her eyes before she quickly shunshin out of there with Zabuza's body. Naruto walked down to see his so-called team and senseis heading towards him. What the hell, loser? Why the hell did you take away my fight? Said Kenzo before he was hit on the head by Naruto. Naruto, what happened to Zabuza? Asked a concerned Kakashi. Oh, nothing much, just that he got away with some help by some fake hunter Nin, but don't worry, I'm sure we will be seeing him very soon. Said a very eager Naruto, as some of them shivered because for a moment they swore they could have seen a dragon behind him, but they thought it was their imagination, so they continued their journey towards Tazuna's house with him leading the way as they prepare for anything that might come, whether it will be now or in the future. After a long trip, they managed to reach Tazuna's house. When they went in, they were greeted by Tsunami, Tanzuna's daughter, as she invited them into the house. After Tanzuna told his story, she thanked them, to which Kakashi said they were doing their job and didn't need to say thanks. She then prepared dinner, which they enjoyed until the sound of a door opening caused their heads to turn, and there they saw a boy a few years younger than the quadruplets walking in. "Oh, Inari, welcome back. These are the people that your grandfather hired to protect us from." But the kid just stared at them for a while before going up to his room. "What's his problem?" asked Kenzo. Tanzuna then told them how he lost his father to Gato, and how it affected him. Kakashi then told them that they will train tomorrow to prepare for Zabuza and his accomplice, to which they nodded and went to bed for the night. Morning, a nearby forest. After breakfast, the team find themselves in the forest nearby Tanzuna's house as Kakashi started explaining their task for the day. "Alright, today we are going to do some training just in case Zabuza decides to attack, but that won't be for a while, so let's get started. Naruko and Narumi will go train with Kushina in your Kenjutsu, while Kenzo, I am gonna train you in some elemental attack. Naruto, you are gonna start climbing trees to work on your chakra control," said Kakashi, to which Naruto looked at him with a deadpan face. "Wow, for a so-called former ANBU captain, your observation skills suck, but then again, reading those books could make any virgin man dumb and blind cause they are too busy to find a real woman. Where did I and Zabuza fight on, cause I was pretty sure it wasn't dry land." The girls were giggling at him while Kushina was laughing her ass off. Hell, even Kenzo smirked a little at his expense. Kakushi's eye twitched a little before he thought back to the fight, and his eyes widened in surprise, which Naruto saw and gave him a smirk. Then he said, "That's right, I was walking on water, you idiot. Hell, I was skating on top of Zabuza's water dragon when we were fighting. Water skating, you hear?" Kakashi hung his head down because of that deceleration, but then Naruto continued, "So just leave me alone to train by myself, and we'll be all good since you guys can't teach me much anyway." With that, Naruto just walked away to train by himself, leaving the team by themselves, but one of them was glaring at him. After that, they trained like this for a few days until one day Narumi went to confront Naruto after Kushina finished her training for the day and went to train Naruko. She found him practicing some taijutsu katas on top of the lake while she saw some clones reading some scrolls. He noticed her and asked, "What are you doing here?" "I came here to see if you were goofing off, but now maybe you might have some brain in that head of yours," said Narumi. "Seriously, you and Kenzo need to keep your ego in check before it comes and bite you back in the ass," said Naruto with a deadpan face. "What do you know? From what I can tell, you are still that attention-seeking brat from all those years ago. I can't believe that mom and dad still chose to keep you, because from what I can tell, you are still a disgrace to the family, so why don't you just go ahead and get out of our lives already? After all, that name you chose is probably for some no-name loser like you." As soon as finished that sentence, she was flown back by a punch from Naruto, and boy was he pissed at how his own sister was talking to him like this, but this was the last straw, and now he decided to give his beloved sister an overdue spanking she deserves. Narumi got up and then lunged at him, drawing her sword at him, which all he did was sidestep and gave her a trip, which she stumbled a little but managed to get her footing straight. She turned around only to see a fist that connected to her face as she flew back a few feet before coming to a stop. She readied her sword for another strike only for Naruto to disappear, and then gave her a roundhouse kick to the head, to which she rolled over to lessen the damage. She quickly flashed some hand signs and called out water style, water drill bullet, which she shot water-like projectiles at him. Naruto dodged those projectiles easily as he flashed his own hand signs and then calling out water style, dance of the Hydra. With that, 8 serpents came out of the water and lunged themselves at Narumi. She managed to dodge some of it, but she got hit by 5 of the serpents, causing her to fly back, breaking some trees in the process. Naruto walked towards the damage area only to find himself being chained up. He looked to the side to see Narumi barely standing as she was panting hard. Naruto saw this and told her in a cold tone, "If you think your precious chains can hold me, then you've got another thing coming." After that, he just ripped the chains that binded him with pure brute strength, which shocked Narumi before she was given another wicked right hook that sent her flying once more to the ground. Now Narumi was scared, as she had never seen her brother angry before, and now here he was, ready to beat her to an inch of her life without a care in the world. But just before anything could happen, Kakashi and Kushina came out of nowhere and stood in front of her, readying themselves at Naruto. "Naruto, what the hell do you think you are doing to your sister?" said Kakashi. "Sister? Don't make me laugh, Kakashi. I only have one family, and that's for me to know, and you to fuck off." "What family? You only have us as your family," said Kushina. "Huh, now that's a good joke. Since when have I ever been part of your stupid family, you red hair bitch?" "That's enough, Naruto, now apologize to your mother right now," said an angry Kakashi. I do as I damn please, you useless fanba. Tell me this then, do you even know what my favorite food is? Naruto asked. Kakashi and Kushina wondered about the question before answering. Is ramen, isn't it? Said Kakashi, as everyone in the family loved ramen, but that proved to be a mistake. Ha 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 ha. Oh, now this is too good to be true. I never like that shit. Sure, once in a while maybe, but all the time. I am actually surprised that red hair women could grow eating that shit all the time, and now just proved my point. You guys don't give a monkey's nut sack at what I do. Sure, I played pranks around the village to get in trouble, but do you know why? It's because shitheads like you didn't even bother to look at me, and when I did the pranks, you just punished me and throw yourselves at the siblings, and look at them now. Kenzo is like that duck but amo faggot, and Narumi herself is getting arrogant by the minute because she couldn't figure out the most important part of a shinobi, and that is deception. The only decent one is Naruko, because at least she cared about me a little. Why did you think that I sent a shadow clone to ask for her help, only you dense idiots? And furthermore, do you guys even bother why I never walked with you people? That's because I didn't want to be seen by a bunch of people that would give everything to someone while they forgot the other, and here I thought Uzumakis never abandon one another, but from what I've seen, Kushina-sama, you are a disgrace to that name, so I suggest you guys use that peewee-sized thing you call a brain and think before you flap your lips like fish on dry land. Ranted Naruto as he released some of the anger he had bottled up for all these years, and with each rant, Kushina started sobbing uncontrollably until she dropped down crying. Kakashi saw this and tried to comfort her while Naruto just looked at them impassively. He walked away a little before turning his head a little and told them, I won't be back for a while, so don't bother finding me and Narumi. I suggest you actually learn what happens around you, because this world is never black and white, so wake up and smell the roses, cause I ain't gonna be there if you fall. And with that he left for the day. I did this cause some might want to fem Haku, and since Inari's rant has been used too much, so I thought I could try this out to set the mood a little for when Naruto meets Haku. The morning after Naruto left. Morning came as a figure walked through the forest with a basket in hand, picking herbs on the forest floor. As the figure walked deeper into the woods, it saw what appeared to be slash marks on the trees. Curious, the figure followed the slash marks until she reached a clearing, but this clearing was man-made as the area was surrounded by craters, fallen trees, destroyed rocks, etc., and in that clearing the figure saw a boy no older than she was lying on the forest floor in the middle of the carnage. The figure then recognized the boy as the one who beat Zabuza some time ago. It then got closer to him, contemplating whether to kill him or wake him until he spoke. If you're gonna try and kill someone, make sure that they are not really asleep. The figure got spooked a little but then calmly told him, I was just curious because I thought you were one of Gado's thugs. Don't worry, I am not, said Naruto as he looked at the figure in front of him, and he couldn't help but whistle because in front of him was a beautiful girl with silky long black hair, fair maiden-like skin, and wearing a pink kimono. But then begs the question, what are you doing out here, miss? Asked Naruto. Oh, I'm out here to pick some herbs for my friend. He is really sick and I don't have enough money for a doctor. I see. Well, name's Naruto. Date, what's yours, missy? My name's Haku and I'm a guy, Naruto, said Haku as he thought that he would react the same way as others did in the past when they made a pass at her, but was shocked when she heard him say. And another piece of advice, don't bother tricking people like me because I can tell the difference, so want me to help you with it? Okay, I guess. And with that they spent the whole day picking herbs. As they were about to part ways, Naruto told her, this tells Zabuza I said hi, and to get ready for an ass-kicking for a lifetime. He smirked when he saw her shocked face and he then disappeared in a flash. Haku stared at the spot a little before grabbing the herbs and headed back to Zabuza. Naruto flashed outside of Tanzana's house and then headed in. He saw his team eating dinner, but he saw some emotions ranging from fear and realization by Narumi to sadness and longing by Kushina, while Kakashi had a hint of both anger and sadness on his face. Naruko came up and said, Hey Oniai-chan, where did you go? Naruto then answered that he was blowing off some steam and left it at that. Surprisingly, Kenzo didn't say anything, which was weird to him, but shrugged as he went to bed. I really need to control my emotions better cause that took more than I normally use. But then again I do feel a little bit relieved, like a weight on my chest was taken off me. Oh well, time for bed, he thought as he slowly closed his eyes and fell asleep. The next day Naruto slowly opened his eyes as light shone into his room. Crap, how long was I asleep? But he was brought out of his thoughts when a scream was heard and he quickly grabbed his stuff and headed for the noise. Outside, Tsunami was in trouble as two guys who worked for Gado barged into her house and dragged her out so that she can be used as a hostage. Inari tried to save her but was backhanded by one of the thugs, and now they were planning on raping her. Please someone, anyone help me, she prayed as she waited for the inevitable, but before anything could happen she heard someone shouted Magnum Step, and then a scream followed afterwards. She opened her eyes and saw Naruto standing there as he walked towards her and untied the ropes. She hugged him while saying thank you over and over again. After a while, she calmed down and Naruto asked her where are the rest. She told him they were at the bridge, but they didn't want to wake him up, so they went ahead first. Naruto nodded at her answer and headed for the bridge, but not before telling Inari for a job well done and that his father would be proud of him. He then quickly took off to the bridge. Bridge. A thick fog was laced at the bridge as Tenzuna was sweating because he couldn't tell what was happening, only that he was nervous for some reason. Inside the mist, however, was a dome made of ice, and inside it was Naruto and Narumi. Kenzo stayed near Tenzuna as a precaution, while another side was Kakashi and Kushina fighting Zabuza. The fight was heating up as Zabuza tried to cut Kakashi, but he managed to block it with a kunai, to which Kushina tried to capitalize by coming to Zabuza's side and giving it a downward slash. It connected only for it to become a puddle of water. Zabuza was about to go for another clash before a shockwave of Ki caused him to back off a little. What the hell is this? Is it Kakashi or Kushina? No, it's more sinister than that. Zabuza wondered, but those weren't the thoughts of the two senseis. Is this the Kyuubi's chakra coming out? If so, who is the one using it? Was Kakashi's thoughts. No, it can't be. I need to hurry and finish him off and try to control it before it gets out offhand. Kushina thought as she hastily charged at Zabuza, hoping to end it. Inside the dome was Narumi holding on to a lifeless Naruko as she draw out the powers of the Kyuubi. You killed her, you bitch, now I am gonna make you pay, said Narumi, while she kept drawing onto the Kyuubi's chakra before she charged at the masked hunter Nin, who was inside a mirror made of ice. She thought that the ice would protect her, but the punch connected and she was forced out of the mirror. She was shocked at what happened, but then another punch connected to her face as Narumi saw red because the person in front of her killed her sister. She was charging up a Rasengan, and when she was done, she charged at the Nin and was about to connect, by all of a sudden somebody grabbed her hand before the Rasengan hit her. She turned to see Naruto grabbing her arm and looking at her with an impassive face before she shouted, "What the hell are you doing? This is the person who killed Naruko, so let me go because I am gonna kill her." Naruto then looked at Narumi and shake his head a little before asking, "Did you even bother to see where the Senbon needles hit Naruko before going all Kyuubi on her? Cause from what I saw, she is still much alive, isn't that right, Haku?" As he turned to see Haku's mask falling apart, showing her face that was in shock at his observation, but then she answered, "Yes. I never liked killing in the first place, so I placed her in a sleep-like state." As soon as she heard this, Narumi calmed down till the Kyuubi cloak disappeared, and then she was panting a little because of using the Kyuubi chakra, but she was relieved as soon as she heard that Naruko was still alive. But before they did anything else, a loud chirping noise was heard, and Naruto and Narumi recognized it. Then they heard Haku said this, "I am sorry, Naruto, but I still have a job to do for Zabuza," as she shunshed towards Zabuza's position. Kakashi was about to kill Zabuza with his Chidori, but then he saw the hunter Nin coming out of nowhere. He tried to stop, but he couldn't, and before anyone knew it, Naruto came out of nowhere and grabbed Kakashi's hand to deflect the Chidori, while his other hand grabbed Haku as he turned while giving a kick to Zabuza's chest to get him out of the way. After registering what happened, Kakashi was about to ask Naruto something, but a clapping sound was heard and everyone turned to see a short man being led by a couple dozen thugs. Well, turns out the demon of the mist was nothing more than a weakling, because you can't kill a simple bridge builder. "Gato, what are you doing here?" growled Zabuza. "What do you think? You Nins are so expensive, so I hired these thugs to cut you out of the deal since they only cost less than you do. Now go and kill them all except for the girls, since they will make a nice addition for the brothels," said Gato. The group was tired after the fight, but they have no choice because it was do or die. Kakashi was about to throw a tri-pronged kunai before a sinister laughter caused them to see Naruto grinning like a madman as he walked towards the thugs. Kushina called out to him, but to no avail as he continued walking towards them. Play JP by Abingdon Schoolboys. Instrumental. Look at this, boys, the kid thinks he can take us on. Let's show him a dose of reality. Yeah. The thugs charged straight towards Naruto, who was still walking slowly with that grin still on his face because through his eyes time slowed down for him, and when the thugs got close, he strike. Hoo. Jet X, Naruto called out as he crossed slashes forward with his 6 swords and then followed up with Phantom Dive as the shockwaves from it caused the thugs to be sliced in half because Naruto pumped more chakra in it. Those moves alone killed 9 men in one go, which caused a shock on their faces when they saw this, but they steeled their nerves and attacked him once more in sheer numbers. Naruto grinned as he saw this and he said, "Come on, this dragon is just getting started." As he went to meet their charged Inside Out Budokai Banu Tatsu trigger. Naruto sliced one thug's arm off and gave him a kick which knocked him into another while he stabbed a guy behind him with his sword in a reverse grip before slicing from the waist down. Show mo my pride Nantigomi no hai anai satit hui. Naruto followed the momentum to block a strike, then he saw a thug coming from his left, so he used his free left hand to draw his sword on his right side as he turned in a circle which slashed another 2 thugs plus the one he blocked earlier with in half. Isegasai Karu Samurai it crazy. He then gave another thug a roundhouse kick to the chest before giving a double slash to another who tried to sneak up on him. Nanan no Kikken Ga Anari o Ajuru Nda. The thug dropped to show Naruto with his swords facing downwards to his left. Life it goes on Tatarita Sekai date. Naruto slowly stood with one of his sword on his shoulder while another was still facing the ground, both dripping in blood. Nejitaru sono me and I. The thugs look at him wearily before they look at each other thinking on what to do next because this kid just took out a dozen men in a few seconds. Kaze yo azani michi narahoi. Naruto just pointed at one of them with his sword and gave a come here taunt with it. The thug charged and the others soon follow. Naruto saw this and smirked as he sheathed one of the swords only to bring out two more in his other hand and thrust it using his speed, shouting out. Untambweki garenetsu to kusabura tamashi iga mu no shimatsukuru. Magnum Step Piercer. This move is just like the normal Magnum Step, but Naruto pumped chakra in it so it created an extended sword made of lightning which killed 8 thugs with it before giving his claws a swipe to rip out the men that were skewered by his swords. This momentum allowed him to follow up with his other move as he gave an upward slash to his enemies as he called out Death Fong. Following that he gave a triple slash on another thug on the bottom. Someway more high no you and I there, I'll find my place under the radar, I'm reaching for the sky. Instrumental. Once he landed, he quickly threw the swords on his hand in one swing which killed 3 more thugs coming towards him. Naruto then jumped back flipped to prevent him from getting slashed from the legs as he used his left hand and one swing, he beheaded another 2 men. The men's head dropped as the thugs realized that they were outmatched. Some of them wanted to run away. Gato saw this, and shouted out about tripling their price. Suddenly the thugs got their second wind and charged at him, throwing reason aside. Deep inside Buppane's Hanu Sasa frequents. Naruto grinned even more as he appeared in front of them and slashed horizontally from right to left, killing 3 of them in that swing. Then using the body as a weapon, he roundhouse kicked them which sent them flying towards their comrades as he jumped to give a downward slash to the one behind him. Beat rhyme flow dandan o mashingani soten hei. Turning his sword into a reverse grip, he stabbed a guy behind him without looking and then he used his sheath to shoot one of his 2 remaining swords like a crossbow with the hilt facing forward, hit a thug in the face which broke his nose if the blood was any indication. Itariot and Kayaka to winds to blow down. The sword fell with the tip stabbing the ground as Naruto flashed a one-handed sign calling out wind style. Great wind breakthrough. With it a gust of wind blew some of the thugs away. Michi naki michi itamigait Sasuma endie. Time then stood still for Naruto as the thugs were slowly getting up to regain their footing as he still has his sword stuck in the guy behind him. As time goes by Oto no Yaiba Damat. The thugs saw this predicament as now he was in a circle surrounded by them. All of a sudden they grin at this. Kirihiraka sono saki nowhere o michibai hikari no hoi. Charge, one of them shouted as everyone charged onto his position, leaving him no escape. Once they were close enough, Naruto spun his body as the sword got out of the body via forcefully slash out as Naruto called out. Ultimate Hokkaidasu Itami ni Shibarera Karada Ga Mata Yuzukidasu. Lightning Storm Vortex. This move killed through the thugs into the air, either killing or stunning them along with the dead bodies nearby because this move combines both wind and lightning chakra to create a mini tornado to launch enemies into the air. Some Wado Zashida Hitomi and I now I face the change, illuminate the glow I have inside, blaze your mind. Naruto stopped spinning as he regained back his footing and then he turned to see the remaining thugs and Gato looking at him with fear. He then slowly walked towards them. Yato, not be dominated, do not let him take you away, fight fight. Dohatsu Tensuku Raime Todoroki Baku and ride ondo what you believe is right, do what you can do at a time, fight fight, Dosura Kami no Shuri Aikura Wasriya 2 NDA. Gato and his thugs were peeing in their pants right now as this monster in front of them just wiped out 3/4 of their members, and now he is walking towards them as bodies literally started falling from the sky. They saw his clothes and his hair being painted red from the blood which was falling like raindrops as he still has a grin on his face as he was looking at them like a sadistic man. One of them couldn't take it anymore and started running away, but then Naruto saw this, and then charged as he grabbed his fallen swords along the way. Instrumental. He appeared in between the running man and his comrades. They widened their eyes as he called out Crazy Storm. Screams were heard as Naruto cut and rip apart anything he sees with his swords, and no man was safe from him. An archer tried his luck as he fired an arrow at him, but he blocked it and charged at him. He tried to run, but he was too slow as Naruto quickly cut his head off. He then saw a few more running away while some tried to jump off the bridge, but Naruto was having none of that, so he channeled lightning chakra towards his body and then in a flash, he disappeared. Untambweki garenetsu to kusabura tamashi iga mu no shimatsukuru. The thugs that ran away were shocked by Naruto's presence as he called out Testament. When he did a horizontal slash which created a blue sword-like aura that cut through them, and those that weren't killed was knocked back by the force. Someway more high no you and I there, I'll find my place under the radar, I'm reaching for the sky. Naruto used chakra strings to connect onto his swords and then he swung it in a horizontal arc which killed those that tried to jump over the railings. Naruto controlled the blades as he threw it upwards before recalling them in his hands and then sheathing them. Hagain no Kiba o Takumiki to Ko o age. Naruto walked towards Gato was shivering in fear. He tried to bribe him, but then I'm gonna live out my life untamed, fight fight. Naruto charged at him quickly, unsheathing his sword, and in one swing he cut his head off. The head flew as Naruto slowly sheathed his sword, and then the head hit the ground with a thud. End song. Everyone had a different reaction as Naruto walked towards one of the thugs who was alive. Narumi was shocked at the sight as she was putting Naruto down on the railings. Kenzo was starting to go green at it, while Tanzana thought about swearing off drinking sake forever. Kakashi and Kushina wondered how did he get those just to kill all those men, and wondered if he was okay after killing them. Zabuza and Haku watched with an impassive expression because both of them had seen people die before, but Zabuza was impressed by his skills. The thug that was alive was scared shitless as Naruto walked towards him. He was then grabbed by Naruto, who locked his gaze at him. Naruto told him in a cold and dangerously low tone, the reason I am letting you leave is so that you can pass this on to everybody. Naruto threw him down before shouting towards the sky, go and tell everyone that Naruto date, the one-eyed dragon of Konoha, is here, and anyone who dares challenge me will fall before my blade and their soul will be sent straight to the deepest part of hell, so run and spread my message to all. Now go and get out of my sight. The thug started to run away in fear when Naruto finished his sentence, as lightning flashed behind him, adding the dramatic effect to it. Once the thug was out of sight, Naruto turned to see the rest of his team and Tanzana staring at him before he started to thought to himself, this is gonna be a long week. As he carried Naruto on his back and motioned them to head back to the house to regroup. Somewhere in the border of Iwa, the thug ran towards a shop, barging and ignoring the rest of the people as he headed straight for the counter. The man saw his state and asked what happened. He shouted, I need you to add someone to the bingo book now. Okay, no need to shout. So what's his name that got you so riled up? Said the shopkeeper as he took out a pen and book. His name is Naruto Date, and his moniker is the One-Eyed Dragon of Konoha, said the man in fear. After the death of Gato was known throughout Wave, the people started partying and celebrating for 2 days straight because they were free. During the party, Naruto was a happy camper as he outdrank everybody in Wave while somewhat getting a fan club at the time, though they only stare him like a piece of meat because Kushina and Naruto somewhat glared at them to back off, and even Haku joined in sometime, even though at the time she didn't know why, but Zabuza just told her that her heart was reaching out to her, to which she blushed at the meaning. But that was not all that had happened. On the third night of Gato's death, Zabuza called Naruto so that he could have a chat with him. Hey kid, I know Haku decided to go with you guys, but I'm not coming, said Zabuza as Naruto raised an eyebrow. Let me finish. She doesn't have a good life and I want her to stop running because of me. I know you will take care of her when I leave for Kiri to help against the rebellion, but before that I want to have a last spar against you with nothing more than our swords, no ninjutsu, genjutsu or anything else, so what do you say, kid? Want to give me a farewell fight before we part ways? He asked, grinning. Naruto returned the grin and told him, come on old timer, let's rock. Once that last word was said, they clash. Power versus power as they tried to push one another down with brute strength before they pushed each other back and readied their stance for another bout. The stare-down was intense and a single leaf was all it took to start it. They charged at each other, and then their swords clashed once more as sparks came from the deadlock before Naruto used his free hand and used a quick draw on his other sword. Zabuza saw this and managed to dodge, but only barely as he had a small nick on his stomach. Zabuza returned the favor by giving him a back roundhouse kick to the chest, and Naruto skid a few feet before stopping as he looked to see Zabuza thrusting his sword at him. Reacting quickly, Naruto rolled to the side and quickly recover only to put his swords up in AX shape to block a downward strike from Zabuza. He pushed the sword back and gave a little spin before thrusting both swords at him, but Zabuza just blocked it with the flat side of the blade, but the force was enough to push him back a little. That gave Naruto an opening to use Zabuza's sword as a leverage to jump above him as he gave a downward slash with both his swords. It connected, and on Zabuza's back had 2 slash marks on his back from his right shoulder to his left waist. Zabuza grunted a little from the attack as he gave a roundhouse swing with his sword, but Naruto just backflipped over it. Zabuza didn't let up as he followed it up with another swing, to which Naruto managed to block it with his sword but was sent down to the ground because of the force behind it. Naruto recovered again as he charged and gave a cross sweep to Zabuza's legs, to which he just jumped over it, but that was his mistake as Naruto feigned that attack and gave an upward thrust towards Zabuza. Zabuza's eyes widened a bit as he saw the swords coming at him as he leaned back, but the swords managed to hit one of his legs. Once he landed, he dropped to one knee because of the wound, but instead of anger, he was grinning as the swordsman in him was shivering with excitement because of the warrior in front of him. Ha ha ha, now this is a fight, kid, so come on, show this demon the power of your dragon and let us see which is stronger, shouted Zabuza. Well, come on, I ain't getting younger, old man, answered Naruto as his grin got wider that it could split his face into 2. The sky's sudden pickup whined as these two readied themselves for the lat clash, but unbeknown to them they managed to get a small crowd, which was Team 11 along with Haku, as they watch a rare Kenjusta match between 2 men who have honed their respective arts, as different thoughts rang through their minds. How did Sochi get this strong? Even though I am happy about it, but I'm sad that he managed to do this without our help," thought Kushina. "Naruto, just how strong are you?" was Kakashi's thoughts. Nichan Naruto thought in worry. The two stare at each other, as the winds pick up even harder, but that did not deter the two men in the clearing when a lightning flash out of nowhere. As if on cue, both charge at each other. Time slowed down for both of them as they saw the beings that made them what they are today. For Naruto, he saw a blue demon ready to cut him in half, and for Zabuza, he saw a white and black dragon ready to feast on his next prey. They came closer and closer until they clashed, and everyone was holding their breath as both of them were facing back to back of each other. Naruto dropped to his knee first as a gash appeared on his cheek. Zabuza grinned and told him, "This kid, you better take care of her or I am gonna hunt you down to the ends of the earth, you hear me?" "Sure thing, old man, now just lose already." And as soon as Naruto said that, Zabuza fell down face first to the floor as the match ended with Naruto winning, as everyone ran towards the fallen men as the match of the decade ended. A couple days later the bridge was finished and everyone was waving goodbye to Team 11 along with Haku, as Inari cried a little, but Naruto reassured him that they will meet again in the future. Zabuza took some of Gato's money and returned to Kiri to help with the rebellion. Haku wanted to follow him, but he told her that he didn't want her to have the life he have, and after a tear-jerk moment they parted ways. "So, what should we name the bridge?" asked a villager. "What about the Super Tazuna Great Bridge?" Which earned a boo to Tazuna, and he cried anime tears a little. "How about the Great Dragon Bridge, in honor of the one who freed us from Gato's rule?" said Inari, and then everybody cheered in agreement as the bridge was named on that day. It didn't take long for the group to reach Konoha because they didn't have any normal civilians, so they could run at full speed without any worry. Once they reached the gates, they gave their ID and then headed to the Hokage office. In there were Jiraiya and Tsunade as they were waiting for the team from coming back from their first C-A-ranked mission. They were happy that they made it home safely as Kakashi and Kushina started telling their story in wave, but Kushina was hesitant in telling what Naruto said to her, with most of the occupants noticing it, but Kakashi's face said that they will tell them later. They nodded, to which Naruto scowled a little as he knew that he is gonna have a talk with them later. Once they were finished with their report, faces of shock and confusion was on their faces as they heard that Naruto slaughtered a lot of men and managed to win a fight against Zabuza. Momochi alone was enough for them to ask a few questions about it, but the file it for later, as they handled the extra person at the moment. "So, Haku, if you wish to join our village you must be on a 3-week probation and a trip to our INT department for a few days. Sorry, but it's protocol." "I wouldn't mind that, Hokage-sama, but I would like to join the medical corps when I finish the probation." And those words brought a grin on Tsunade's face as she was looking forward for another medical need to teach. Once they ended the report, Minato dismissed the team except for Kakashi, and in turn Kakashi told Naruto to stay outside for a moment. Once that was done, Kakashi told them the empty part of the story, and when that was done most of the occupants in the room were sad a little, but also a little angry at how Naruto thought about his family like that. Minato then dismissed the ANBU before calling Naruto in. When Naruto entered, he saw that the room was a little tense, and he knew Kakashi told them everything. "So, what did the fanboy told you?" asked a bored Naruto. "Naruto, that's not how you should treat your sensei, but nevertheless he told us everything and I am shocked that that's how you see our family. You should know that your siblings needed more time with the Kyuubi in them, so stop saying stuff like that when you know your mother and I love you and we don't want you to get hurt when we are training the triplets," said Minato. "He's right, kid, so how about you apologize to your mother and sister, and wait until they are finished with their training, then they will teach you, okay, Naruto?" said Jiraiya, hoping that it might help, but was put out of it when Naruto started to laugh. Hee ha 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 ha. Naruto continued to laugh as the occupants in the room looked at him in confusion. "Oh, now that's funny, saying stuff like you love me, what a joke. Like I told that red-haired bitch, since when did you guys ever notice me? Every goddamn time it's always the siblings that you listen to, not me. You say you love me. How, what a joke, you could have given me a scroll to read or, oh I don't know, maybe using some shadow clones to teach me, but none of you had to focus your attention towards the triplets, and you have the nerve to give a lame excuse. Did the ceiling shrunk both your brain and balls? Cause from I can tell your ego crushed your spine, because from what I can tell none of you have the guts to admit your own mistakes, so let me tell you this. You can take your excuses," Naruto said as he held up his hand pretending to hold something. "Shine it up real nice." He turned the imaginary object a little. "Turn them SO and then bitch sideways and stick 'em straight up your candy asses," Naruto said, and then some chanting of Rocky was heard by Naruto only, and when he turned to find nobody there, he shrugged before continuing, but he was cut off by Jiraiya. "Now listen here, kid, you shouldn't talk like that to your own father because he has to make the tough choices here, so shut up and listen properly because your siblings are needed so that they could change the world, and if you could stop whining then maybe we can teach you something worthwhile after your siblings' training." With Tsunade adding her 2 cents in, "Yes, so now you are going to apologize right now to your mother for being a kid throwing a tantrum. Now I know you are angry," but that was all she could say before Naruto put his hand up in a stop sign before continuing. "Seeing as I was not done taking You should know your role and shut your mouth. To which another round of cheers was heard again by Naruto, but he ignored it. As I was saying, he may make the tough choices, but does he admit them? No, he doesn't. Why, it's because he only took the easy way out, and You thought that I don't know about that useless prophecy you preach so much about, but guess what? I've known about it since I was 4, dipshit, and let me tell you this. People that focus too much in that kind of stuff are people that have no sense of direction and need somebody to hold their hand with while they are crossing the road, and looks like you are one of them. Does the toad sage wants his bottle, or does he need help to change his diapers? And don't think I forgot about you, old Hag. You say I throw a tantrum, then what about you? You care more about the dead than the living because you keep hiding behind somebody and not the genjusti you put up, so how about you move on, bitch, cause the dead aren't coming back. If you keep this up, hell, you might end up like the fanbra over here, and you know what, you are wrong about that because I'm not angry. Which confused the people even more. No, I'm not angry right now. I was angry when you neglected me. I was angry when you trained them instead of me. I was angry when you assholes took my birthright. Right now I am pissed because you think that you can boss me around like a little kid, but newsflash, people. I am not a kid, so since you like prophecy so much, let me give you one right now. Naruto then changed his voice a little and continued on. On the day where both the sun and moon meet, the hero of the leaf will fall by his own flesh and blood he betrayed, but before he fall, he shall see his family fall first before the might of the Forgotten One, as he shall use the powers of light and darkness to destroy them in both mind and body, and once he turn to the hero of the leaf, he shall burn his very soul to the ground as the hero watch his own kin took everything he know and love. And believe me when I say that I will make this prophecy come true, believe it, so go ahead and try me if you dare, said Naruto as he walked out the door, leaving a stunned group of people in there. You don't think he might do it, do you, sensei? Asked Kakashi. I'm not sure, Kakashi, but I think he just need to cool off, so don't think too much of it, said Minato, unsure. Just in case, Gaki, I think I will head over to your house for a bit, just in case. You coming, Tsunade? I don't think so, Jiraiya, leave me alone for a bit, answered Tsunade as she walked out of the room to clear her head a little. I'll try and talk some sense into him once he cooled down a little, sensei, and maybe he will see that we are right, said Kakashi, to which Minato nodded and he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Training ground. Naruto was meditating a little as he tried to calm down a little, but that could only go so far, and he hoped that someone would come and become his punching bag, and as if Kami was listening to him, Kakashi appeared right in front of him, and he grinned. Naruto, listen here, your rants stop right now, so be a better man and apologize to your family right now because sensei is right, and if you listen then maybe you could have them teach you something, said Kakashi as he thought that Naruto would listen. Naruto looked at him like he grown a second head, but then an idea popped into his head. He grinned a little as he draw his sword out and pointed at him, saying, come make me, bitch. Kakashi got the idea a little as he shown his Sharingan to Naruto, who just smirked and then disappeared before appearing on top of Kakashi with his sword poised to stab him. Fast, Kakashi thought as he rolled out of the way to safety, but that was short-lived as Naruto called out electrical breakdown as his sword stabbed into the ground, creating a dome-shaped shockwave which knocked Kakashi back a few feet, hitting some trees before stopping. Kakashi recovered, but only to see Naruto's sword thrusting at him in a reversed angle. Thinking quickly, Kakashi managed to Kamawari with a log to get out of harm's way, and when he did, he saw Naruto thrusting the sword at the log as he called out lightning thruster, and the log was obliterated along with the trees behind it. Kakashi saw the damage done, and he made a mental note to dodge those kind of attacks, but was brought out of it when he saw a lightning dragon heading straight for him. He quickly made some hand signs and put his hand on his mouth in an O shape as he called out wind style. Wind dragon Justa, and a dragon made of wind clashed with the lightning dragon. The dust settled down, and Kakashi saw that Naruto was nowhere to be found. As he frantically searched for him, his danger sense told him to jump, which he did to see Naruto coming out of the ground intending to drag him down but couldn't. Kakashi landed and had his kunai drawn in both hands as he watched Naruto carefully and planned his next move. Naruto just clapped a little while retaining his grin as he told Kakashi, this not bad fan, but this party is just getting crazy. As he charged at Kakashi with his swords in both hands and then slashing at Kakashi relentlessly, and when Kakashi managed to push him back he noticed that he was in a predicament as Naruto didn't even look winded, but he was riddled with cut marks, though shallow, but he was breathing hard because he couldn't keep up with him. Kakashi did a last-ditch effort as he created two shadow clones and had them surrounded Naruto in a triangle formation, which Naruto raised an eyebrow to before they did hand signs and the calling out the moves. Fire style, Grand Fireball Justu. Water style, Water Dragon Justu. Wind style, Giant Air Drill Bullet. Naruto watched on as the justice came right at him, but he made no effort to move, but instead he just sheathed his swords and then got into a quick draw stance. He smirked as he the whispered judgment cut. Kakashi looked on as his justice was about to collide, but then all of a sudden the justice were all cut somehow by an unknown force, to which all of them were cut into pieces and harmlessly passed by Naruto. Kakashi was shocked at what happened, but then he felt his danger sense coming, but he was too late as he felt that his body was slashed in different places and that his clones also poofed away. He tried to get up but only managed to get to his knees. Well, looks like I need more work on judgment cuts since I didn't give you much damage than I hoped, but don't worry, I plan to do something even more humiliating to you, said Naruto, which Kakashi looked in shock as the move Naruto used wasn't even finished if he heard it right, but the next one was the one that gave Kakashi a heart attack as he saw Naruto got into a stance he is all too familiar with, along with an all too familiar chirping sound as he saw Naruto using his own move, which he called Lightning Blade. Naruto saw his look and smirked. What do you think? Not bad, huh? But wait, it gets better. Naruto then charged his entire arm in lightning chakra and then he created a sword from his elbows, and that was the cake as Kakashi saw that Naruto has just evolved his own move like it. I haven't named it yet, sign, I only finished it 2 weeks ago in Wave, but don't worry, you get to have it firsthand. Naruto then charged at him with the intent to kill, and as he was about to hit Kakashi, a blur came out of nowhere and managed to get Kakashi out of the way, to which Naruto just pierced the tree and then the tree was broken in half as Naruto made a slicing motion with his lightning-coated arm. He turned to see his father holding on to Kakashi as he glared at Naruto a little. Naruto just smirked at him and said this, well, looks like the prophecy is starting to come true, so what are you gonna do now, hero? As they stare at each other waiting for the other to make a move. The doors closed behind Minato as he came back after dropping off Kakashi at the hospital after his beatdown from Naruto, and he looked worse for wear because of what Naruto told him earlier, and it's still ringing in his mind. What are you gonna do now, hero? He frowned as he thought about what Naruto told him but was taken out of it when his wife greeted him. He returned with a forced smile, but she saw through it and asked him what was wrong, and he told her what happened today. Shocked would be an understatement on Kushina's face when she heard what Naruto said after she and the siblings left, but then her face frowned as she knew why he said it, but she somehow couldn't blame him for it, and tried to comfort her husband about it until an idea came to her. Hey Minato, isn't the Chunin exam in a couple of weeks? Asked Kushina. Yes, so? Minato answered, no, getting the point. I was thinking about signing them up, and before you start saying anything, this could help mend the relationship between our son because the exam is based on how well the teams work together, and that might somewhat force them to work together so they could win. With it might mend some relationship they lost, so how about it? Minato thought about it for a while and agreed to it, sadly because of what Naruto told him, but he figured that this might have a slim chance of Naruto not destroying his siblings and maybe prevent him from destroying the prophecy, which he still thinks is the younger siblings, and with that ended their conversation for the day. 2 weeks after that, Naruto was walking down the road as he was going to his team meeting, and along the way he saw Naruto walking with Narumi towards him. They greeted each other before they continued walking, but Naruto noticed that Narumi was more quiet than usual, but he knew why, because of the spanking he gave her during waves, so she had an idea what happens when you piss him off. They were walking down the road until Naruto stopped and said out loud, "You know rocks aren't that square, Konohamaru." All of a sudden a large poof of smoke came from the rock and out came 3 kids who started coughing. The one with the oversized scarf said, "Udon, you put too much smoke." The nerdy one identified as Udon said, "Sorry, Konohamaru." Naruto shook his head a little while smiling at their antics before asking them what they were doing out here instead. "Well, boss, we wanted to see if you could play ninja with us," said Konohamaru. "Play ninja? How old are you, Nai-san?" said Narumi. Naruto raised an eyebrow at what Narumi called him, but he dismissed it, and then nodded his head towards the trio. They cheered, then ran away, and after that Naruto chased after them, followed by Naruto and Narumi. They were about to turn into a corner before they heard Konohamaru shouting at a guy to put him down. They ran quickly to see Konohamaru being held by the neck by a person wearing a catsuit with makeup on his face. "That hurt, you little shit, I'll show you what happens when you crashed into me," said the person wearing the catsuit. "That's enough, Kankuro, let's get out of here before he sees us," said a blonde girl whose hair is tied into 4 ponytails. "Shut it, Temari, I need to show him some humility," Kankuro told the blonde now known as Temari. He was about to grab something from his back before he felt steel on his neck and he heard someone said this to him in a cold tone, "I suggest you put him down before I have to take your head off for threatening the grandson of the 3rd Hokage, got it? Nod if you understand, freak." Kankuro nodded even though he was angry at being called a freak, but being insulted is better than being dead. "Good, now let him go before I let you see the death god up close and personal." Kankuro dropped Konohamaru and the kid quickly ran behind Naruto, and so did the other 2. Naruto sheathed his sword and walked back towards them before he looked towards a tree and said, "Aren't you 3 gonna come out, or are you gonna sit and stare?" "Well, in the redhead's case, stand and stare." When they saw a person coming out of the tree and sand, they were shocked to see a redhead with the word love on top of one of his eye and a gourd on his back staring at them, along with Kenzo and Sasuke coming down from the treetops glaring at Naruto for a bit before turning their attention towards the redhead as they never noticed him until now. The redhead then spoke, "Kankuro, you're a disgrace." Kankuro tried to protest before he told him to shut up. As they were about to leave, the redhead looks at Naruto and asks him this, "What's your name?" Before Sasuke or Kenzo said anything, I wasn't talking to you, I meant him because mother says to stay away from you for now. Well, since you ask so nicely, my name's Naruto and I'm the one-eyed dragon of Konoha, so tell that raccoon dog to heal before I make him heal. Got it? The two behind the redhead looked shocked at what he said, but the redhead didn't show any emotion before saying this. I will be sure to look forward to prove my existence with you, and my name is Gaara from Suna. And with that they walked away. Kenzo turned to him and asked, what do you mean by raccoon dog, loser? Ask your own tenant and find out, Naruto said cryptically before they went to meet up with their sensei. When they got there, they saw that Kakashi was limping a little and wondered what happened, except for Naruto, who had a shit-eating grin on his face. They then handed them some forms to sign, as they told them they signed them up for the Chunin Exam the day after tomorrow, and everyone had a look of excitement on their faces when they heard it, but for different reasons to be told at another time. After signing the forms, their senseis told them to go to room 301 on that day, and they finished their team meeting for the day as they went back to prepare for it. Day of the Chunin Exam. The siblings headed towards the building that the test was in, and they headed in. When they reached a floor that had a door labeled 301, they were skeptical about it before they realized that it was a genjutsu, and were about to leave before Team Emo shows up and called their bluff along with Kenzo, which earned a face palm from the rest of the siblings. Sasuke and Kenzo were then challenged by a spandex-wearing person who had caterpillars for eyebrows, and being the pompous ass they accepted. Naruto shook his head and then went up to the real room with Naruto and Narumi following behind. They reached the top to see their senseis waiting for them. They told them why they were waiting for them, and when they heard that they all came together even though Kenzo was busy, they managed to get in. The door opened and they felt some ki shooting at them, but Naruto just looked at them with a deadpan face at the ki they were unleashing, so he used some of his own, and when he did, the genin wannabes nearly shit in their pants as they saw a dragon looking at them like pork chow, except for a few who had different ideas about it, and one of them was a team from Kumo, and despite their rivalries between the two villagers, they managed to have some kind of compromise with each other, as did IWA, but they didn't come for this year's exam as they hold some resent towards the fourth Hokage. Cool, he managed to scare the rest off by using his ki, but I don't think that's his full power, thought a busted blonde with an asymmetrical bob style with the front bangs reaching her shoulders. She wears a very low-cut outfit which displays her sizable cleavage, with mesh armor underneath, a short skirt and red handguards, high boots, and what appears to be a modified Kumogakure flak jacket that covers her stomach only, similar to a girdle. She also has a tanto strapped horizontally to her lower back. Wow, never thought I'd see someone who could do that. Maybe he's the one my grandma told me stories about, thought another blonde whose hair is tied into a twin pigtail reaching her waist. She was wearing a skin-tight bodysuit that's opened very low in the front, bearing half of her breasts and some of her legs. So is this the person that is said to be my ultimate rival master? Thought a black-haired man who has 2 crossed spears on his back. Couldn't find a description on his clothes, but he is wearing exactly like Sanada Yukimura. Once Naruto was done scaring the class shitless, he then turned his eyes towards the team from Kumo, especially the one with the spears on his back, and the person did the same. As if on cue, they started to walk from their positions towards each other, ignoring those around them, and when they were about a few tables apart from each other, an unlucky team of genin were about to be eliminated before the test start, as one of them accidentally dropped a kunai he was playing with on the floor, and as he was about to pick it up, hell broke loose. Jounin lounged one room from the testing rooms. So, how do you think that they will fare in the test? Asked Kurenai. They will be fine, we did train them after all, right, Jean? Answered Asuma. Don't think so, cause I got the short end with a screaming banshee, an emotionless freak, and the I thought was decent is obsessed with killing his brother, said Jean as a rain cloud appeared on his head. Like Asuma said, we have got to have faith in our teams, said Kakashi with Kushina thinking about her children in the test. But before anyone else could say anything, 2 people came flying from a wall, crashing into a table some jounin were sitting in. They saw that they were some of the genin taking the test, and they turned to see what was going on, and the sight inside the room shocked them a little. Testing room. A genin was shaking in his boots as he was about to pass out from the sheer amount of pressure he was in. Why? Cause the poor soul is stuck between Naruto and the spear wielder with their weapons drawn in a deadlock, as Naruto used all of his 6 swords and stabbed them between the guys' crossed spears. They were pushing each other towards the limit, and everyone in there could have sworn they saw a dragon and a tiger looking at each other, as if waiting for a signal to tear each other apart. The deadlock ended when both of them pushed each other apart, and they skidded a few feet before stopping. The genin look in shock as what happened just now, especially their own teammates, as they never saw them like this, because both of them had a look of a predator ready to kill on their face. But before any of them continue, a puff of smoke appeared and a man told them to stop in a loud voice and sit down. The 2 backed down a little, but Naruto asked him this, what's your name? The spear wielder said, my name is Reito Yukimura, the tiger of Kumo, and I know who you are. Naruto date the one-eyed dragon of Konoha, high rank nin in the bingo book for killing over 50 bandits in wave. Naruto raised his eyebrow a little because of what he said, but he was happy cause he was already on a spot to be noticed by other ninja in the nations. After that they took their seats, and the test began. I'm gonna skip this part since it's mostly boring, but it's somewhat the same as the anime, only Kenzo used the speech and Naruto was playing poker with some of the examiners, and cleaning them out by the way. Before Ibiki could continue, a blur flew into the window and there was a banner with the words "the sexy and single ankle Muratashi." Not sure that I spelled her last name right, but if so, sorry. And a woman wearing a questionable clothing with a pineapple-style hair was standing on the table. After a weird situation between her and Ibiki, she told them to head for Training Ground 44. Training Ground 44. After a dramatically brief explanation of the rules, the Genin team headed into their respective tents to get the scroll. Naruto coincidentally dropped the scroll to let them know they got an earth scroll, and Naruto saw some of them were already gunning for them, which he smirked as this was part of his plan. As they got ready, the proctor for the test gave the go signal. A little into the test, the team were attacked by a no-name Genin squad, but they managed to beat them and got their scroll, which was the one they needed, so wasting little time they headed straight for the tower. They were jumping from tree to head for the tower, but all of a sudden a gust of wind appeared out of nowhere, blowing them down to the ground, but Naruto was the one who landed on their feet. They then saw a grass Nin appearing out of nowhere. She told them to fight like their lives depend on it with their scrolls on the line. After that she swallowed her scroll down her throat, and then she unleashed her Ki, which sent most of the siblings down on their knees panting for air, as they have never felt anything like this before. Not before anything else could happen, they heard something even more sinister, as an even bigger Ki was unleashed, but the siblings weren't too affected by it, as this one cancelled out the other, but it made their entire body shiver in fear. They turned to see the source, and there was a sight to behold as they saw Naruto looking like a man as he stared into the grass Nin as his body was shivering in excitement, but what took the cake was what he said next. Ha 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 ha, finally another one that can give me a good time, and this one has a price on his head now. This is really my lucky day, isn't it, Orochimaru? The one now called Orochimaru started to peel off his skin to reveal a sexually confused person with pale skin and long black hair with a fork-like tongue chuckling at them. Well, looks like the so-called failure of the fourth Hokage isn't so stupid after all, but what makes you think you can take me on? How about I show it, faggot? Narumi, Naruko, Kenzo, get out of here, because I can't guarantee that you guys won't come out of here unscathed, Naruto said sternly. Kenzo tried to protest, but Naruko just knocked him out with a chop to the neck and carried him as she and Narumi fled, leaving Naruto behind to fight with him. Orochimaru wanted to give chase but was stopped when a lightning strike came out of nowhere, stopping him in his tracks. He turned to see Naruto holding his blade like a yakuza as he shook his finger, and said this with a shit-eating grin on his face, saying this Oroki-chan. You're not leaving until I kick your ass from here all the way to Kumo Freak, so get ready cause this party is just getting started. Play Modern Strange Cowboy by Grand Rodeo. Instrumental. Well, let's see what you got, Naruto-chan, Orochimaru told him creepily as they stared down at each other. Naruto grinned a little before all of a sudden, his body was covered in electricity, and charged at Orochimaru, and then using quick draw moves on all his swords he called out Ultimate Storm. Modern Strange Cowboy, instrumental. Like Crazy Storm, Naruto slashed like crazy, but in this case he charged the swords in lightning chakra, and each slash has a lightning aura that cut through anything, which was shown by the cuts on the trees as they were riddled in slash marks. Orochimaru managed to dodge all of them, but not without any small nicks on his body. He managed to dodge another one before he widened his eyes to see Naruto charging at him, but he was able to save himself by spitting out his sword from his mouth and deflected his blade, and the deadlock was on. Se no de tabitashite Saidakuoes nomu, Sabutsuka hate no momentumu. The deadlock continued as they tried to overpower each other. Not bad, Naruto-kun, maybe you might be good enough to be my next vessel if Sasuke-kun couldn't make it. Sorry, Petamaru, I don't swing that way, so go and become my snakeskin wallet cause that's what you're good for, faggot, countered Naruto as he pushed him back, and they got ready for another clash. Sumishigo no Mobiai Suda Kirabiyaka na Rakasuda, Fukitan Duretsu, were Modern Strange Cowboy. They stare each other down as they slowly circle each other, and then Orochimaru charged at him like a snake, slithering towards him with his sword poised to strike, but Naruto charged electricity on his left arm, and he slammed it towards the ground, shouting out, "Are you ready to the action? Me no me and I cabe one iz, do you have any function? Guri, back to the fire." Earthquake and cracks appeared on the ground meeting his charge. Orochimaru saw this and stopped his charge to jump across it, only to block a midsection strike, and then Naruto grinned, which he raised an eyebrow to before his danger sense told him to move, but was too late as Naruto called out point blank judgment cut as he used his left hand and did his judgment cut point blank on Orochimaru. Hitsuzetsu enite Tsukushi gadai, insanity, ishi mushi dekanai. Naruto thought he had him, but then he turned into mud, and with that Naruto was on guard again as he surveyed the area waiting for Orochimaru to make his next move. Ha-anai kinukisanade. A rustling sound alerted Naruto, and he turned around and saw a sight that nearly took him by surprise. Sanjikuro no Teian date, Iamao Ikinukyo Kauba, Erda ni Saida Hana o Kairasana uni, Ikinukyo Kauba, Iame Kakanukuro Kauba. A giant brown snake came out off nowhere lunging at him, but Naruto jumped high enough to prevent himself from being eaten, but that left him open to attack, which the snake did as it lunged at him while in mid-air, but Naruto saw this, so he used a minor wind chakra to boost him up in the air a little before he did a front flip, and then charged his sword with wind chakra as he landed and procced to run down along the snake while dragging his sword with it, and at the end of the snake he did some hand signs and called out Storm Dragon Barrage and punched his fist at a direction. Achima and I kuchahiti basiki no yoyoku, nagayu de majikai my turn. All of a sudden a barrage of 20 dragons emerged from that move and headed straight at the direction, and once it connected an explosion occurred. Kawarimono no romansa kamarigaki na masuda, kono tabi wa jizetsu, were modern strange kauba. When the dust settled and Naruto saw a wall made of earth was blocking something, then it crippled down to show Orochimaru pointing his arms out as he called out Shadow Snake Strike, and hundreds of snakes lunged at Naruto, but he countered as he flipped his own hand signs and called out, "Are you ready to the action? Nudarahima Nanka Nai Z, how do you have any function? Kuri I get. Light your fire." Electric breakdown hammer as he brought down both his hands in a hammer-like motion, and when it struck like a grenade as a burst of lighting came out from it, destroying the snakes in its path before heading straight for Orochimaru, but he then Kawamari to a safe location before finishing his hand signs and called out Fire Style. Fire Dragon Justu. Kansei wa Sudenai Red Eye, Impaction, Kasha Tantan for life, Kasha Tantan for life. A dragon made from fire came out from his mouth and headed straight for Naruto, and it connected and a fire pit was created from where Naruto was standing. Orochimaru was smirking at his handiwork before a voice coming from behind him shook him out from his thoughts, and he turned to see Naruto behind him saying, "And I know Ashi Fuminade. Welcome faggot, we're not done yet Electrostrom. Nanchukoto te anajit, Iamao Ikinukyo Kauba, Tashika and I Kita Kokoro no Ko wa Rollin, Ikinukyo Kauba, Iame Norikanes Kauba." Naruto then released his lightning chakra in a big burst, destroying anything in its range, and Orochimaru didn't react quick enough and was caught in it. The blowback was a bitch as he came crashing down the ground hard and skidding with his body before it came to a stop via crashing into a tree. Orochimaru shook out the cobwebs a little before opening his eyes to see Naruto thrusting 3 swords at him, calling out Magnum Step Piercer. He managed to roll out of the way as the sword stabbed into the tree and was destroyed on impact. Naruto turned to look at him dead in the eye as he pointed the 3 swords that he used earlier and did a come here motion with it. Instrumental. The stare-down continued as they tried to find a weakness in the other, and it continued until the tree Naruto destroyed fell down and hit the floor to restart it again. Orochimaru quickly made hand signs and slammed it to the ground and called out Earth Style. Earth spiked pillars and spiked earth came out charging at Naruto, but he weaved through it like it was nothing and then jumped up and gave a downward slash with the hand that has 3 swords, but Orochimaru managed to put his sword up to block it, which created a shockwave in the area. Hoshi no Kazu no Kidoaraku o Itsuka Sora and I Hanatiba, Tamashii Dake wa Zenbu o Shidarindaru, Norika Soraka mo. The deadlock was on again as they tried to overpower one another while giving no inch in it. "Not bad Naruto-kun, you managed to push me quite far," Orochimaru told Naruto. "Think nothing of it faggot, but once I get your head it will even be more sweater for me," said Naruto before he did an unthinkable. He jumped over Orochimaru while he was still facing him, which Orochimaru widened his eyes at before Naruto called out Judgment Storm. Sanjikuro no Teian date, Iamao Ikinukyo Kauba, Erda ni Saida Hana o Kairasana uni, Ikinukyo Kauba. Orochimaru was a step too late as he was cut by an unknown force which Naruto was the cause of as he used Judgment Cut using the swords on his right side with his left hand from his position and attack Orochimaru. It looked like a dome made of slashes was present, which he ended when Naruto landed to turn his body and draw all 6 swords to swing it in a fan-like motion and called out Dance of the Whirlwind, which in turn became a twister that caught Orochimaru in it and sent him straight into another tree. My name is Modern Strange Kauba, closing instrumental. End song. Naruto approached the damaged site only to find no body there, but all of a sudden he was wrapped by Orochimaru, who smirked despite him being wounded a little. "Looks like I really underestimate you, Naruto-kun, but don't worry, I give you something nice for you like I did with Sasuke." And with that Orochimaru bit on Naruto's neck, but when he did, something strange happened as he saw that he was in a dark void before 2 slitted eyes looked at him menacingly before he pulled out quickly only to see tribal tattoos coming on to Naruto's face. Naruto turned his face and told him this in a deep voice, "Well, looks like I've gotta step my game up a little, Pedo-chan." Outside the perimeter, Enko was enjoying her dango before an explosion shook the ground like a mini earthquake and she almost lost her footing. "What the hell was that?" she said before some nin came out of nowhere and informed her that some grass nin were dead by a just as she knew who used it all too well. So you're here, huh? Looks like I'm gonna wipe my slate clean of you, she thought before turning to the sight of a mushroom cloud appearing in an area. And I know just where to start. Once she finished that thought, she headed for the cloud in full speed. Ground Zero, that's what would describe the place Naruto was standing in, because right now he was standing in a crater the size of a city block after his fight with Orochimaru, and around him were destroyed trees, broken rocks, and some poor animals that were bigger than a normal-size house that didn't manage to get away were all lying around him as Naruto takes one look around before sighing. Looks like I played a little too much with the pedo. Oh well, next time I guess, said Naruto before heading off to the tower. With Orochimaru. What is that monster? If I don't come up with something against him soon, I might actually die this time, were the thoughts of Orochimaru as his body was riddled with cuts and bruises, and right now he is limping across the forest floor trying to get out of there. Well, never thought I'd get to see the day you would be near death's door, Orochimaru, said a voice. Ah, Anko, how goes my former apprentice these days? Better now that I get to end you myself, so die, traitor. Anko went for a strike, but Orochimaru managed to avoid it, and instead of fighting, he disappeared in a swirl of leaves before telling Anko to not stop the exam, which made Anko worried a little before she went to inform the Hokage. Tower entrance. Naruto made it to the tower where he saw his siblings there waiting for him. Kenzo woke up a few minutes earlier and started ranting on how he should be the one fighting Orochimaru and not Naruto, which irritated his sisters to no end, as Naruko was itching for her tanto. I think that's what's called, and Narumi's eyes started twitching uncontrollably. Before anything could happen, Naruto managed to arrive to their relief and then proceeded to throw the scrolls down, and then a poof of smoke came out. In it was Kushina, and she was proud that her children managed to pass the second round even if one of them didn't like her very much. Later she told them to stay in the tower until the test ended. When they entered, they saw that the Suna group was already there, which irked Kenzo a little as they were not first but held it in. Next to came in was the Kumo group, which Naruto and Reito started a stare down before walking away. Naruko, who was curious about this interaction, asked him, "Hey Anai-chan, why are you and him look like you are about to tear each other apart?" "It's personal, Naruko, maybe I'll tell you about it someday, but for now just let it go," answered Naruto, which she did. After that group was Shino's team, and following them was Ino's team, and after that was Niji's team. Lastly was Sasuke's team, but they looked worse for wear. But Naruto knew that they ran into Orochimaru before his team, but didn't pay much attention to the whining crybaby and his pet bitch, but he did keep a small eye out for Sai, cause he looked like something was up, and he knew that he was gonna report to that one-eyed mummy about it. Days later. All of the teams were now standing in a large room that had 2 balconies on each end along with their senseis, as Minato came out along with Tsunade and Jiraiya standing beside him with Hiruzen following behind. He looked onto the crowd before noticing his children among them, and then frowned when he saw Naruto, but he didn't put much to it, and then told them why the exams are held, much to the shock of most people. Then he passed on to the next proctor, who was a sickly guy with a sword on his back, and then he explained the prelim rules because they had too many people, so he asked would anyone want to quit, and not to worry as it is gonna be individual matches, and most quit, including a white-hair guy who Naruto knew as Kabuto by his sisters as they met earlier in the first exam, but Naruto suspect he's Orochimaru's boy toy by the looks of it, so he was a little wary of him. Once all of them were done, the total came out. The proctor then said that there was an odd man out, so she must have a 3-way fight with another 2. "I'm not gonna do the cough thing on Hate, sorry. Now we will see who is the odd one out," said Hate as the screen started blinking at names until it stopped to show Naruto, which said person smirk and hoped to fight against Reito, who also had the same thoughts. The teams started to head up to the stands, and then the screen started the first lot, and everyone, including the clan heads who were there to see their children fight. "Canon fights I'm not gonna write because it's too troublesome," as Shikamaru would quote, "Hehe, so I just write the winners and the fights some are waiting for." Shino vs. Dosu winner, Shino. Shikamaru vs. Kin winner, Shikamaru. Chuji vs. Zaku winner, Zaku. Wanna get rid of the sound group first, that, and I forgot most of the sequence of the fights. Temari vs. Tenten winner, Temari. Kankuro vs. Unknown Nin winner, Kankuro. Gaara vs. Rock Lee winner, Gaara. Sakura vs. Ino winner, double knockout. Stands. Everyone had a deadpan expression when the match ended, including the foreign Nin, and then Naruto voiced his ahem concern, "You know, I don't know whether the teachers pitted them or someone bribed them, but my money is on bribing in Sakura's case, cause the only thing she is good at is fawning over an emo duck ass who has a stick so far up his ass it penetrated his brain, causing it to shrink. Seriously, at least Ino has her family's just even though she's the same as her. Hell, even a blind and deaf man could beat them with his hands tied around his back." Which earned a nod formed the kunoichi there, and a sweat drop from Asuma and Jean, who both made a mental note to send them to Anko to sharpen up their skills and prayed that she won't scar them. They then turned back to the screen to see the next match, which then both Naruto and Reito frowned, and everyone there looked at them weirdly but put it aside for now and turned back to the match. Kiba vs. Reito. Yahoo! "Come on boy, let's show those Kumo-nin who's the best around here," said Kiba to Akamaru, who barked in agreement, and then they jumped down and pretend to look cool. Reito just slumped a little before walking down normally. Hade waited for them to get ready, and when he saw that they were, he started the match. "Hey, you ready to get your butt kicked by me, Kumo-nin?" said Kiba arrogantly. Reito looked at him with the "are you kidding" look, which he then looked at Naruto and asked him how you want me to embarrass him, quick or slow. Slow, he deserved it anyway since he needs a wake-up call, but don't hurt the dog too much since it's not his fault its master is so damn stupid. Answer Naruto, which got him a glare from Kiba and a few snickers from the rest of the group, including Reito, who chuckled at his expense. "Alright, that's it," said Kiba, who charged and threw a wild punch which Reito lazily dodged before he gave a knee to the gut. That caused Kiba to hunch over before Reito gave a kick to his ass which caused him to fall face first to the ground. Kiba got up and tried to attack again but failed as Reito just kicked him in the gut before giving a kick that sent him upwards. As he came back down, Reito just kicked him straight into a wall partially embedded in it. The crowd looked in shock as Reito just manhandled Kiba like it was nothing, and Naruto just smirked at his predicament. Kiba managed to get out off the wall before falling down to the ground on his knees. He got up and glared at him before giving Akamaru some pills, and then his fur turned red, and then he changed into Kiba. Kiba smirked as he and Akamaru charged at him as they called out "Fong over Fong," and their bodies were spinning madly like a twister heading straight for him, but Reito got bored at his opponent and decided to end it by using one of his spear and then giving a straight thrust to meet its charge. The people thought he was crazy except for Naruto and the Kumo group, and when the charge met, the whole room was shocked as Kiba and Akamaru was pushed out of the way and skidded backwards with their bodies. They tried to get up, and when they did, Reito unleashed a crimson aura slashed at them which connected with an explosion, and when it died down, Kiba was standing somewhat but Akamaru was down and out on the ground. Reito did a double take and was surprised that Kiba managed to survive but shrugged before he sheathed back his spear and did some hand signs before shouting out "fire style, volcanic eruption," and he slammed his fist to the ground. Then a series of booming noises started coming out from the ground as fire started coming out from the ground and headed for Kiba, who closed his eyes before that spot went boom. And when it did, Kiba flew up from the impact and headed straight down to the ground with a loud thud. The proctor stopped the match as he went to check on Kiba. When he found out that he was unconscious, he declared Reito the winner. Winner Reito. Some of the people were shocked at how this nin managed to beat Kiba like it was nothing, and that he managed to dispel the Inuzuka's Fong over Fong with just a normal thrust of his spear, which made them a little weary except for Naruto, who smirked and gave his supposed rival a mock bow which he returned in kind, and that caused an eyebrow raised by their respective senseis. Reito's sensei was a blonde with pigtails like Kasuga, but she was wearing the normal Kumo nin clothes, and she was worried about Reito because of what happened earlier in the exams with the blonde kid with the 6 swords and eye patch, so right now she had to ask him about it. "Reito, what happened during the first exam? I've never seen you like this before, so what's gotten into you?" asked the sensei. "Well, Yujito-sensei, he and I kinda have a rivalry against one another because of our senseis, and leave it at that please," answered Reito to his sensei, which we now know as Yujito. Yujito looked at him for a moment before relenting because among all of the people, he was one of the few weird one other than Killer Bee with his rapping, so she dropped it as she looked back to the guy Reito has it out for, which she must say is quite handsome, before a voice spoke to her. Kitten, that is one piece of hunk right there, so come on, after this let's get him, tie him up and ride his brains out." "Shut up, Nibby," thought Yujito to the voice known as Nibby. "I am not gonna ride his brains out, so stop it." Which made the voice quite down a bit, but that didn't stop it from sending images about it to her which made her blush like hell before turning back to the match. Note: Yujito will not be in the harem as it was already final, this is just Matabi talking. Kenzo vs Hinata winner. Kenzo due to Hinata fainting. Don't ask. I may like Hinata, but for the most part she kinda suck when they were younger, no offense. That match earned a sweat drop for most people except for Hayashi as he shook his head in disappointment at her, and by his side was Hanabi as they waited for the next match. Kasuga vs Samui. This put a shock to the Kumo team as both blondes looked at each other before going down, as both thought about the match right now because both of them were the best of friends during the academy, and right now they wanted to prove who's the best. "So Kasuga, you ready?" said Samui, and once Hate started the match she got her answer when Kasuga threw her kunai at her. Samui dodged to her left and quickly drew her blade as she looked back at her teammate and friend who pulled back her kunais, which was connected by some wire. Both of them stared each other down before Kasuga threw her kunai again, but Samui managed to block it, and then she charged straight at her. Samui went for a strike to the chest, but Kasuga jumped back before flipping out some hand signs before calling out Earth style spike pillars as she put her hands on the ground, and from it spikes started coming out heading straight for Samui. Samui did some hand signs of her own as she jumped over the spikes by pumping chakra to her legs and said lightning style, lightning cutter, as she swung her sword, which created a slash of lightning heading straight for her, but Kasuga managed to jump out of the way only for her to get kicked from behind by Samui. She managed to roll through before ducking an overhead strike from her, and Kasuga followed up with a kick to the gut, pushing her back a little before throwing her kunai at Samui. Samui managed to block some of it, but Kasuga managed to cut her a little, but before Kasuga could pull her kunai back, Samui managed to grab a string and then send some electric current through it, which shocked Kasuga. Samui capitalized on it by stabbing her blade at her. She was shocked when suddenly Kasuga started to turn into mud, and all of a sudden Samui jumped away before a pair of hands came out from the ground prepared to grab her. As Samui landed, she had to block another batch of kunais heading straight for her, but instead those kunais landed around her. She looked at them curiously, but her eyes wide when she saw explosive notes on them. Samui tried to get away, but the notes exploded a little early and she was caught in it as she flew back from the impact. She opened her eyes a little and was quick enough to block an overhead kick. She countered by pushing her back and gave a roundhouse heel kick, which she blocked and returned with one of her own. It didn't connect as Samui ducked under it and jumped to the side as she flipped some more hand signs and then called out lightning style. Storm Crusher, and her fist slammed down to the ground and out came a mini crack in the ground, followed by lightning started heading straight for Kasuga. Kasuga barely dodged it as the lightning managed to hit her leg, which left a nasty burn on it. She cursed a little before noticing Samui was gone. Her instincts kicked in as she looked up to see Samui coming down on her with a lightning-infused axe kick. She just barely dodged the kick, but the impact managed to push her back a little. She flipped some hand signs quickly when she saw Samui heading for her, and when she ended it she called out Earth style, Earth Dragon Justu, and with it a dragon made of earth came out from the ground and headed straight for Samui. Samui's eyes widened when she saw the dragon heading straight for her, but that didn't scare her one bit, as she made a last-ditch move with the last of her reserves as she suddenly encased her body in lightning and all of a sudden disappear from sight. Kasuga's eyes widened a bit before she felt a punch encased in lightning hit her gut, and with that she blacked out from it and fell into Samui's arms. Samui looked as bad as Kasuga as she was panting hard from using the move with her current reserves, but she managed to stay awake for Hate to declare her the winner before passing out. Winner Samui. Medics came in and quickly took the girls to the infirmary to get healed, while the proctors started to fix the arena a little before starting the next match. Wow, those two really know how to fight, said Naruko as Narumi nodded in agreement. Heh, so what, bet I could beat them just as good, boasted Kenzo. Like hell you can, you couldn't even stand up to the might of an Uchiha, Kenzo, said a smug Sasuke. You wanna say that again, duckbutt? Come on, let's go then. But before both could fight like children, the next match came out, and this was even more of a shock to all the Konoha people, as this was something worth to see in their opinion. Naruko vs. Narumi. To say shock was an understatement for both the Uzumaki Namikaze girls, as both looked weary at each other as they thought about the times they spar and thought back to realize that they never even went all out at each other, and was a little scared for the other, as they did not like hurting each other, but they felt the need to prove to themselves and their parents that they can do it, and so with that determination that they headed down to face each other. Up in the Hokage stands, Minato and Kushina were a bit worried about having both their children fighting each other, but then they were reassured by Jiraiya and Tsunade somewhat, but she looked a little worse for wear as she was showing some signs of lack of sleep, but Minato had to guess what Naruto said to her that day, managed to get to her somehow. And then made a mental note to have a Yamanaka to check on her mentality after this before looking back down at the match. Both girls stood opposite to each other as they focused on getting to the next round while trying to not hurt the other so much. Hade looked at both of them carefully, and when he was satisfied he started the match. A clash was seen as both girls used their swords and put themselves in a deadlock before pushing each other off. Narumi quickly used her chakra chains to attack Naruko, but Naruko countered by using her own chakra chains, which resulted in a clash as both chain wielders tried to use the chains to outdo one another, but the chains ended up getting tangled in each other, which resulted in another deadlock. Narumi ended the deadlock by calling off her chains and flipped some hand signs and then called out water style, water drill bullet, and then she fired some water from her mouth and headed straight for Naruko, but she used her chains to block the attack and she used her chains to attack Narumi, but Narumi countered by jumping back to the wall and used some chakra to stick to it as she saw the chains being embedded into the wall. Narumi sheathed her sword and then in a small stroke of stupidity, she followed what her brother did with Zabuza's dragon and started to run on top of the chains, which startled everybody in the room except for Naruto, who grinned like a madman as he sees his own sister use a move he did. Naruko was momentarily distracted at the move but was able to regain her composure as she quickly flipped hand signs and called out wind style, air drill bullet, as she put her hand to her mouth in a C shape before blowing in it, and air bullets headed straight for Narumi, who had no choice but to jump, but that went according to her plan as she finished her hand signs before calling out water style. Water pressure shot and fired a torrent of water at Naruko, who barely had enough time to pull a Kawamari before the torrent destroyed the all-ever-present log in the show. Naruko was at a safe distance away as Narumi landed, and she was panting quite hard while Narumi only looked winded a little. Naruko was wondering why she was more tired than Narumi before she realized that Narumi was letting her waste her reserves on her. She cursed a little before she saw Narumi charging straight at her with her sword in hand as she went for an upward slash, but Naruko jumped back and she returned it by using her own sword to give a slash at her chest, but Narumi managed to block it, but Naruko used enough chakra to create one chain and shot it straight for Narumi, who couldn't block it and was hit straight at her chest, and she skid back a little before Naruko somehow followed it up with an axe kick which Narumi managed to block before pushing it back and called back out her own chains to attack Naruko. Naruko blocked most of the damage with her sword but was pushed back because of the force, which gave Narumi enough time for another Justu. Naruko had a second to react when Narumi called out water style. Water wave Justu as she fired a giant wave of water at Naruko, who pumped chakra to her legs before she jumped over the water as she followed it by throwing some shuriken at her. Narumi blocked it with her chains and managed to dodge a downward slash from Naruko, and then using her sword she resumed their Kenjustu clash. The people there were impressed by their performance, as both were quite evenly matched in skills-wise, and Minato and Kushina was gleaming with pride along with Jiraiya and Tsunade as they continued to watch the match. Narumi went for a slash but Naruko blocked it, and she followed it up with a roundhouse heel kick which Narumi blocked with her arms as she pushed it away as she went for a downward slash as Naruko met it with an upward slash. The results were that the force caused both of them to lose their swords. They quickly jumped back after it happened and both were looking very tired from it. Both of them had thoughts about using the Kyuubi's chakra but decided not to as they had limited control over it, and didn't want to risk it. Well, looks like both of yous are almost out of energy, Narumi, so how about we end this with a bang, said Naruko in between breaths as she looked on to Narumi, who made a silent yes gesture which confused the crowd until both of them quickly made hand signs and both of them called out water style, water dragon Justu. And suddenly two dragons made of water came out from the water made by Narumi, charged at each other, resulting in a loud splash of water. The clash ended and the crowd looked on to see both of them still standing, but then Naruko started talking. Looks like either of us win, before both of them fainted, which then hate proc to take both of them to the infirmary along with the other teams. Winner, double knockout. Stands. Looks like you did a good job training them, Gaki, said Jiraiya. Thanks, sensei, but I feel kinda sad that none of them couldn't make it to the finals, said a solemn Minato, who was comforted by Kushina along with some of the clan heads, as some of them also hoped that their children could also make it to the finals. Don't worry, Gaki, I'm sure both of them would make it next time, have faith, at least they has some experience for now, said Jiraiya as Minato smiled a bit but went sad again as he saw the last match card being played. Arena. Naruto vs Sasuke vs Neji. If anyone asks, I wanted to plan Naruto beating the people with their stick up their asses one at a time, but that would cause way too many matches and the match card in my head won't match, so I decided for Naruto to kick these two first before letting him fight someone else in the finals. Minato looked on as his oldest child had to go in a three-way fight, and after what he had done to Kakashi, he hoped that Naruto could understand and hopefully forgive them, but somehow in the back of his mind he knew it was gonna be a long time before that happens. Sasuke and Neji went down with a smug on their faces as they thought it was gonna be an easy win, as both of them brag about how powerful their eyes were, and that Naruto was nothing more than the dead last in the class. Oh, those two poor delusional fools. Naruto just shrugged a little before jumping down from the railings as he loosened up his body, which was begging him to fight. Stands. Hayashi sudden talked to his youngest daughter, look closely, Hanabi. There is no Hyuga more pure-blooded as Neji is. Which was returned with a small nod. Arena. You should give up right now, the fates have decided that I'll be the winner, said the smug Hyuga. Yeah right, Hyuga. The Uchihas are the ones that will win, said an equally smug Sasuke. Would both of you please shut up, hurry up Proctor, and start the match already before Pink Eye and Crossdresser her start to bicker, and we all know that these two like to bark like the kittens they are, said an irritated Naruto, which earned some snickers from the crowd as both of them suddenly glared at Naruto, who just gave them the two-finger salute. Hate sweat dropped a little before starting the match. Neji in a burst of speed headed straight for Naruto as he activated his Byakugan and then hit Naruto multiple times before Naruto went into the wall. Get him out of here, Proctor, he is done, said Neji as he prepared to fight against Sasuke, but all of a sudden a voice came out from the down Naruto. What, that all you got, Crossdresser? Your finger poke hardly made a dent, said Naruto as he got up and dusted himself off. The crowd looked dumbfounded as right now they saw someone completely walking out from a Juken strike unharmed by a Hyuga, and in the stands Hayashi made a deer caught in a headlight face while Hanabi looked a little confused. How is this possible? No one can withstand the Hyuga's Juken strike, asked a shocked Neji, but Naruto just grinned before all of a sudden Neji felt a pain in his cheek as Naruto appeared in front of him and gave a wicked right hook which sent him flying across the arena and partially embedded him to the wall. The crowd was shocked at how Naruto could move that fast and gave a punch that sent Neji flying across the arena, but that deterred Sasuke as he tried to blindside Naruto by was welcome with a foot as Naruto leaned in front and gave a back kick in Sasuke's face that sent him flying to the other side of the wall. Silence ensured the room as the Konoha Nins thought how Naruto managed to beat 2 rookies of the year, but Naruto just deadpan and sigh as he mumbled a little about how unfair or why them and so forth. But then Neji came out Byakugan on as he tried to hit Naruto, who just lazily dodged it while thinking whether he should use his swords or not, as he grabbed Niji's arm and judo throw him onto an oncoming Sasuke, who had an up-close and personal look at how a floor feels when someone is being slammed onto it. Naruto just dusted himself off a little before looking down at the two in a compromising situation, PS 69 position, which most of the people laugh at except for Hayashi, who was fuming at how Naruto was toying with them like it was nothing and was getting worse as Naruto took the opportunity to take out his camera and took the photos for blackmailing. The two had a second to realize their situation after the camera clicked before quickly getting up and glared at Naruto, who was laughing at them with a camera in hand. "How dare you make fun of me?" said Neji and Sasuke at the same time. "Easy, you did it for me, Neji-chan, but hey, if you and Sasuke want to get it on, how about you do it after the match? I'm sure some of the nurses here would lend you their clothes so that you can nurse Sasuke back to health," answered Naruto as everyone started to laugh at them, causing them to fume some more. Sasuke was livid as he activated his Sharingan and flipped some hand signs and called out fire style, Fireball Justu, as he shot out a fireball as big as a human being at Naruto as he raised an eyebrow at it before cocking his fist back and then punched the flames as he coated his hand in wind chakra and making it spin, thus when it connected the drill like punch dispelled the fireball, which made some of the people in the room wide-eye at the kinda of control over wind that Naruto has. Sasuke was shocked for a moment before all of a sudden being launched to the air via Naruto's uppercut from out of nowhere, which he followed it up with a side kick towards Neji. Neji managed to block it but was pushed back by the force from it as he skid a little before stopping to see Naruto giving an axe kick to Sasuke, and he came plummeting down to the ground with a loud thud before landing on his feet and turned to look at Neji with a bored expression on his face as he motioned his head in a come on gesture, which Neji hold back a little to analyze the situation he's in. "How the hell are you beating me? The fates have decreed me the winner, so how can you, the dead last, beat me, the former rookie of the year?" asked Neji angrily. "Easy, crossdresser, because I'm good, real good at what I do, which is kicking ass and taking names, so come on Neji-chan, this dragon is getting hungry for some action," answered Naruto, who charged straight at Neji, who was preparing his move as he waited for Naruto to come closer, and when he did, he quickly spun his body as he shouted out rotation, and all of a sudden a dome made of chakra appeared and Naruto went and got hit by it, sending him flying from it. "Stands. See, Hanabi, that is the true power of the Hyuga," said Hayashi as he was pleased at how Neji managed to hit Naruto, and hopefully putting him out of commission. "Arena." Neji walked towards the down body of Naruto and then said, "See that, the fates have decreed me the winner, you should have quit while you had the chance. Any last words?" "Yeah, boom," answered Naruto as he suddenly glowed and then exploded, which caught Neji in it, sending him back to the ground. He groggily got up as he saw Naruto leaning against the wall with a smile on his face as he said, "Explosive clones, you've got to love their effect on people, don't you think, crossdresser? Well, guess it's time to stop playing and end this. I've got better things to do than playing with you two jokers. You dare insult me, a Hyuga. The one's fates have decided to be the one superior than everyone. You are nothing more than the failed son of the Hokage, and you proved it by changing your surname into something more pathetic than that. I'll bet even that person is ashamed of his name, seeing as he is never seen with you. He probably thinks you are a failure like he is," said Neji, and those became his last words that he'll ever say today, when all of a sudden he was pushed down on his knees by an invisible force. He looked up to see Naruto staring him down with cold eyes that could freeze a river just by looking at it. Without even a word, Naruto appeared in front of Neji, and he said something that made all the Hyuga paled when Naruto said, "You are within my range of divination, lightning style, nerve strike Justu," as Naruto started to strike Neji with his fingers coated in lightning and ended it with an uppercut. Neji descended, but that was not the end as Naruto spun his body like Neji's rotation, but he called out wind style, wind dome Justu, and he created a dome made of wind around him and hit Neji when he came down, sending him towards one part of the arena. Silence again ensured as the people there saw Naruto did his version of the Hyuga's Justu right in front of them, but was broken out of it when Hayashi opened his mouth and shouted of, "How dare you copy our Justu," was all he could say before 6 swords pinned him towards the wall, with one of it stabbing it dangerously close to where the sun doesn't shine. Everyone turned back to see Naruto with a cold expression on his face as he said, "This, I suggest you shut up, Hyuga, before I'm gonna do to you what I'm gonna do to Neji," when all of a sudden he threw some papers into the air and channeled some chakra into them, and they all suddenly surrounded Neji, who was trying to get up but failing to do so, and the last thing he heard before blacking out was the ceiling style, "Reign of the Lightning Dragons." I can't type Uzumaki ceiling or something like that since Naruto did drop both those names, some if anyone is asking, and the paper suddenly shot out dragon-shaped lightning and headed straight for Neji, which ended in a blood-curdling scream along with an explosion which stirred the arena a little. The smoke cleared out to see Neji beaten and bloodied on the ground. Naruto was about to check his handiwork before ducking down to avoid a punch as he spun on his heels to give a punch to the gut to Sasuke before saying, "Looks like I forgot about you, but don't worry, I am gonna make this quick but very painful for you, so get ready." Sasuke lightning style, lightning punch barrage. Before he started to turn Sasuke into a punching bag as he caved his head in with lightning-infused punches and continued on until he uppercut him to the air. Naruto followed him up by jumping and then grabbed his throat with his hand and then proceeded to choke slam him from that height, which caused another loud thud as Sasuke was now on the ground on his back. Hate went down to check on both of them, and after that he declared Naruto the winner. After that Naruto jumped into the stands to remove the swords he lent to Hayashi before he took the sword at the nether region for all men, and then push it up until it touched that certain area as he leaned in and said in a cold tone, "You try and pull some bullshit excuse about how I steal your clan's justu and I'll make sure to make Itachi's massacre look tame compared what'll do to yours, got it?" Which he got a small nod from the Hyuga head before going back down to the arena as they started to draw lots for the finals. He took his number and when the proctor asked for it, all of them said their numbers. Naruto 1. Shikamaru 5. Zaku 9. Temari 6. Gaara 2. Kenzo 3. Shino 4. Kankuro 7. Samui 8. Reito 10. After that Minato told them about to prepare for the finals next month and all of them went on to train, but when Minato saw Hayashi's look on his face, he knew that Naruto might be in trouble and went on to prepare for the headache that was about to come. It had been a day since the end of the prelim and right now Naruto was walking down the road heading towards the hot springs to relax as he mentally prepared for the finals this month. Looks like I've got some work cut out for me since the one I'm fighting first has that goddamn raccoon stuck in his gut. I wonder if my seals are enough to handle it, and then I've got to worry about what that pedo is thinking about, but then again he or she isn't much to worry about. Sayo, woe is me, said Naruto dramatically. Naruto later arrived at the hot springs. He then signed it at the cashier and headed straight for the springs. He left his clothes in the changing room before opening the door to the springs. He went in with a towel wrapped around his waist as he carried a bucket along with his iPod inside of it, and he set both down as he entered the spring. As he relaxed into the spring and was about to listen to his iPod before a familiar perverted giggle alerted him and he turned to see the man who caused his misery in the first place scribbling down something in a notebook as he peeked the female side of the springs. He started to leak some killing intent but quickly calmed down, which went unnoticed by Jiraiya, and all of a sudden Naruto got an idea, which he smirked and then went through some hand seals before he teleported behind Jiraiya and strike and called out his move. Jiraiya was happily writing down his notes for his latest book as he peeked to the woman's side of the bath when he felt a small ki that disappeared quickly, which he shrugged as he continued to scribble on while peeking at the girl's side, which consists of almost all of the kunoichi in Konoha and one from Kyumo who were also relaxing for the day when all of a sudden he heard a voice calling out the move that only few use and most suffer. He tried to avoid it but was too late when he heard the words Konoha's secret taijutsu, 1000 years of pain lightning version, and then he felt pain as Naruto jabbed both his index fingers coated in lightning in his ass. Jiraiya's face turned sour before he was launched to the other side of the springs. He landed face first into the water, and as he got up while grumbling a little, he suddenly felt the full force no by all men, which was called feminine fury, as he saw all the kunoichi there giving him the death glare. He only had one thing in his mind before he got his daily dose of a mother of all beatings shit. Naruto returned back to his relaxation once he heard a girly scream with the lines of "No, stop, not there mommy" before they saw a figure launching out from the female side of the spring to the Hokage office. He smirked at his handiwork before slipping on his earphones as he played his iPod, which made him unconsciously started humming to it, and then that was the day Naruto started to become famous towards the female population. Female side. Damn the Erosenin, always trying to use us as material for his books, said a pissed of Naruko as she made a mental note to tell her mom about it along with Narumi. I've heard that Jiraiya was a pervert, but this is so not cool, said Samui as Yujito told her to relax while she checked up on Kasuga. You said it, Gaki. I should feed him to my snakes next time, said an equally pissed Enko. That would be too kind, Enko. I think Kurenai's genjutsu would be a fitting punishment, said Yugao. Maybe I would use it next time, said a grinning Kurenai. Yeah, you should. Maybe I could bring the triplets to Hey, do you guys hear drumming? Said a confused Hana as most of them didn't hear it until someone started singing on the other side. Men's side. Naruto started thumping his hands to the beat of the song before he started singing, Strangers Like Me, Phil Collins. Whatever you do, I'll do it too. Show me everything and tell me how it all means something and yet nothing to me. The wall with the hole was suddenly being used and a couple more somehow appeared. Hey, isn't that your brother? Said Ino, but all she got was a nod from both sisters. Wow, I never thought that your brother had a voice like that, said Samui with a tint of pink on her cheeks as the rest of them kept listening to his singing. I can see there's so much to learn, it's all so close and yet so far. I see myself as people see me. Oh, I just know there's something bigger out there. I want to know, can you show me wanna know about these strangers like meddle me more, please show me something's familiar about these strangers like me. And as Naruto sang, some of the workers in the spring also peek in to see who it was that was singing, which somehow Naruto wasn't aware of as he continued on. Every gesture, every move that she makes me feel like never before. Why do I have this growing need to be beside her? Oh, these emotions I never knew of. Some other world far beyond this place, beyond the trees, above the clouds. I see before me a new horizon. I wanna know, can you show me wanna know about these strangers like meddle me more, please show me something's familiar about these strangers like me. By this time the female population in the bathhouse was listening intently as they heard Naruto saying, which he still did not notice. Come with me now to see my world where there's beauty beyond your dreams. Can you feel the things I feel right now? With you take my hand, there's a world I need to know. I wanna know, can you show me wanna know about these strangers like meddle me more, please show me something's familiar about these strangers like me. I wanna know. End song. I did this to set the mood for Samui to crush on Naruto first. Naruto sighed sadly when he finished the song. He then grabbed his towel as he got up before he turned to grab the bucket as he showed his chiseled chest for the girls to see, which they all had a major blush as they saw his abs and pack before they see him turn his back facing them, and they saw that he had a tattoo there, which was a sword pointing downwards, and there were 2 dragons, one white and one black, circling it before both heads meet at the top of the handle, which looked pretty cool in most of the girls' opinion, especially Samui. When Naruto got out, one of the few most favorite pastime for girls started in the girls' side, and some of the staff that managed to hear his voice, and with that started a rumor that ran like a wildfire about Naruto's singing. Naruto got out of the building and walked aimlessly and thought about his current situation with the pedo. As he reached towards the training ground, he blurred through some hand signs before slamming it to the ground, calling out reverse summoning Justu, and with that Naruto disappear in a poof of smoke. He then reappear on a platform which is suspended in the middle of the sky. He looked around a little before a deafening roar shook him a little as a shadowed figure appeared from the clouds circling Naruto before stopping in front of them, and he said, "Well, whelp, are you ready for the next step of your training?" Said the figure, to which Naruto just smirked and said, "Bring it, cause this dragon is ready." Which the figure smirked at his proclamation and said, "Then let us begin, whelp," before he started charging at him. Naruto smirk turned into a feral grin as he took out his swords and charged at it. Namake's household. Minato came back home with a turd look on his face as he finished another long and useless few hours of a council meeting, which consisted of the civilian council trying to muscle into ninja affairs and also trying to set up his daughters with Sasuke, while Kenzo with another civilian girl, which was quickly shot down by Minato. And then there was Hayashi, who was screaming that Naruto should be ripped of his ninja license and sent to jail for stealing his clan Justu, but was shot down again by the Hiruzen, saying that the Wind Dome was a legit Justu and that there was no rule that a ninja could not create Justu which is similar to any other, and he told him that every Justu was copied one way or another, which shut him up. But Minato was worried that this would not be the last he heard of this. Why can't I ever have a break from all this bullshit?" said Minato as he sat down on the couch and sighed when suddenly Kushina came out from the kitchen and asked why when she heard him say that. Minato then told her about his meeting, and by the end of it she was livid at the civilian council and was ready to give them a piece of her mind until the doors opened and both of them saw Narumi and Naruko, while behind them was Kenzo along with Tsunade, Shizen and a bandaged Jiraiya. Once they saw Jiraiya, Kushina then asked all too sweetly what happened, and when Naruko told her what happened, let's just say Jiraiya had needed a couple more bandages and right now was lying in a small crater with smoke coming out from it, as Kushina and Tsunade both dusted their hands before all of them, including a conscious Jiraiya, re-entered the house to discuss their training. "Well, first off, congratulations to Kenzo for making it to the final, but don't let it get to your head, you still need to train, which is why I'm gonna teach you Sage Mode once we get started," said a smug Jiraiya, and with it Kenzo had stars in his eyes because right now he has a chance to learn to get stronger, and once he mastered this and the Rasengan, which he and the girls only managed stage 2 of the training, he will be one step closer like his dad and a chance to kick his loser of a brother and show that he will never be like him. While he was thinking that, the girls were having their own talk. "Alright girls, you might not have made it to the finals, but I am still proud of you for giving it your all in the fight, but that doesn't mean you can slack off from your training. So with that in mind, Tsunade will help you with your chakra strength along with some medical ninjutsu with Shizen when they have time, while I will help you with your kenjutsu and your chakra chains. Sound good to you?" said a cheery Kushina. Minato was beaming with pride as he see his children happy with their training schedule, but he fell back to a frown when he still remembered what Naruto told him, and right now his plan went down the drain when he saw that it did nothing to bring them closer, but he won't give up on it until an idea struck and he asked, "Hey Narumi, Naruko, do you know where your brother is?" Naruko answered, "No dad, last we saw he was heading towards a training ground." "Why?" "Because I think I will teach him the Rasengan along with you guys, what do you think?" said Minato, but before the girls said anything Jiraiya clasped his shoulder and said, "Are you sure, Minato? After all he said he might beat you up." But Minato assured him it would be okay, but because of what Jiraiya said the mood went down a little but was broken out of it when Kenzo started dragging Jiraiya out so he could learn Sage Mode, and with it the girls also went ahead to train along with Minato, wondering if what he thought about earlier might work since he saw that Naruto was a little closer to Naruto, and then left pondering about it while they train. Nighttime. Hate was not having a good night as he dodged another strike coming from Kabuto. How did he get into this mess? Well, it started out as a routine patrol around the village when suddenly he saw the Suna team's teacher talking to a hooded figure, and that's when he found out about the invasion coming this month, and he decided to tell the Hokage, but he was found out, and because of it ensured a fight for his survival because Kabuto was beating him soundly, and when Kabuto was about to strike he suddenly had to dodge when a kunai came aiming at his head. While he dodged it he still got a cut on his cheek because the kunai had wind chakra infused in it before it was thrown. Kabuto looked towards the direction of where the kunai was thrown to see Naruto leaning on a tree smirking at him with his arm crossed. Well, what do you know, the pedo decided to send his sex sleeve to become my lab rat to test out some of my new moves with, said Naruto, and all of a sudden he disappeared from his spot and then appear in front of Kabuto with his sword mid-drawn poised to slice Kabuto in half, but he managed to Kawamari, and Naruto just sliced a log in half. Naruto then slowly scanned the area for him until, "You are quite good, Naruto-kun. I guess Orochimaru-sama was right when he said you're powerful, but no matter, you won't live past this day," said Kabuto as his voice echoed throughout the place, and then he struck by throwing senbons at Naruto, who effortlessly dodged them, but then Kabuto came out from the ground with his hands glowing green ready to hit Naruto. But he was shocked when Naruto grabbed his hands and then proceeded to crush them. Kabuto cried out in pain as Naruto continued the pressure on his hands. As he slowly got to his knees, he managed to look up to see and was stunned to see Naruto's eyes weren't blue anymore, instead it was black with a white slit like a dragon's, and it was staring at him menacingly, and as Naruto tried to kick him, a volley of kunais came out of nowhere, and that caused Naruto to let go and jump back to dodge them. He recovered to see two cloaked figures carrying Kabuto up, and they quickly threw a smoke bomb onto the ground. Once the smoke cleared up, all of them were gone, but that didn't deter Naruto. No, he actually grinned at the prospect. He took a few whiffs of air, and once that was done he held out his hand like he was about to throw a spear. Naruto then charged his lightning chakra to his hand, and it slowly formed a spear of lightning which cackled in the moonlight. Hade, who was watching the small tussle earlier, stared in shock as Naruto formed a weapon made from pure lightning, and it looked like he was ready to throw it, to which he did with gusto, as the spear flew into the sky heading to its intended target. Once that was done, Naruto turned to Hate and said, "Better tell what you heard from the Sand Raccoon Sensei to the blonde pencil you people called Hokage quickly before something else happened, and oh, you better not tell anyone about my new skill or else," and then a loud boom came from the forest out on the outskirts of Konoha, which quickly alerted the border patrol to investigate, but Hate knew who did it, and as Naruto waited for it to calm down he returned with his slitted eye and told Hate in a deep voice, "You are gonna see that move up close and personal," which he then disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto's room. Naruto reappeared in his room, but he was wobbling a little before he managed to flop onto the bed. "Damn, looks like using that mode for that long was too early for me. Oh well, still got a month left, so I should be able to get it down by then," said Naruto, and as he was about to sleep, a knock was heard, which was his door. Curious since none of his family ever bothered, and was surprised to see Naruto standing there with a smile on her face. He raised an eyebrow and asked, "What are you doing here so late, and even better yet, how would you even know if I am in the room?" Naruto just kept smiling and said, "Not telling for the second one and for the first. Dad said he is gonna train you together with us for the rest of the month. Isn't that great, Anai-chan?" Naruto had a small scowl on his face when he heard that, which was noticed by Naruto, which she frowned at, and said sadly, "What's wrong, Anai-chan? You don't want to be with us, or do you still hate all of us for not noticing you?" Naruto sighed a little at what she said. He didn't really hate all of them, just the older members of the family, because of the perverted toad talking about some prophecy that might change the world. From what he heard about from his summons, this was akin to prophecy manipulation unless the summoner passed a certain test requirement, and it was punishable by summons law, but it looks like the toads got a little in over their heads and decided to tell him anyway, and because of it Narumi and Kenzo became arrogant, but Narumi managed to mellow out a little after the ass-kicking he gave her, but he didn't have to worry about those damn toads right now because they will get there soon, but for now he had to stop Naruto from crying because she was the last person he wanted to see cry. "Look, Naruto, I don't hate you, in fact I like you out of everybody here because you take the time to notice me even though those people started training you. It's just that I hate them because they threw me aside because I didn't have any of the Kyuubi's power, and now they decided to train me after all this time, and even then I got stronger without them, so you should know how I feel about this, but since I know you won't let this go, so how about this? I'll come by whenever I can, but I won't guarantee I will get along with them, and I will try and teach you some off moves to okay." That managed to put a smile on Naruko's face when she heard it, even though it wasn't much, but she'll take it, and she said happily, "Okay, Anai-chan, so are you gonna come tomorrow since it starts then?" "Maybe, okay Naruko." Naruto said with a sigh as he was about to close his door, but noticed Naruto still stood there, which made him raise an eyebrow as she looked down onto the ground a little before shyly asking him, "Nai-chan, can I sleep with you tonight like we used to when we were kids?" Naruto again was a little shocked at what she was saying but relented because he could almost never say no to her, so with that in mind he ushered her in. Naruto looked around the room a little, and was surprised that it stayed the same as she remembered when she was younger. A dark blue room with stars and comets on the ceiling, and the bed was a normal one which was able to fit 2 persons, and a small bathroom near the door. She went to the bed and she waited for Naruto to come out from the bathroom, which he did, and was now sporting a white t-shirt with blue boxers with pictures of lightning on it. After that, both of them laid in the bed and slept for the night, all the while Naruto was thinking about how to handle meeting them for training tomorrow. Morning. The sun shone into the bedroom and caused Naruto to stir from his sleep as he mentally cursed the sun, but then he felt some weight on his right arm. Thinking that he slept on it, he slowly opened his eyes to see a shade of yellow in front of him. He widened his eyes a little before he realized that he and Naruto slept together last night. So with that in mind, he nudged her a little to wake her up, which worked as she started to stir a little. She woke up to see that she was not in her room, but she remembered that she stayed the night in Naruto's, and with that she quickly got up and headed back to her room before anyone noticed, and Naruto did his morning ritual and got ready for the day. Breakfast was good itself as Naruto made his own food like he always did in the past and was about to head out for the door when Naruto came down from the stairs along with his family. Minato and Kushina looked sadly at their eldest as he went out the door, but not before being stopped by Naruto to tell him when the training will start, which he nodded to, and that brought some smiles on their face as they thought the plan might work, and with that Kushina just went to prepare breakfast as the family of 5 start the day. With Naruto was walking down the street as he thought about what to do before going back to training with his family when he saw Haku walking towards him. She still wore the same clothes when they were in wave, but on her forehead was a Konoha protector. Haku also managed to see him and decided to call out to him, which he responded in kind. They talked a little about their lives, and Naruto was happy that Haku managed to enter the medical corps despite of him hating who runs it. So with that in mind, they decided to hang out until it was time for Naruto to head for training, as Naruto would call it. They headed for the market to buy some stuff for Haku's new home, and most of them were greeted by jealousy stare from both the male and female population because of both their looks and closeness to each other. Once they brought the stuff they needed, they decided to relax at a nearby park. The park itself was quiet and nice since the only ones there were mothers with their children playing in the playground. They talked for a while, and when it looked like it was time for him to go, they left the park to go to Haku's house first so that he could drop off her stuff that they carried, and after that Naruto went off without noticing a small blush on Haku's face as he left. He returned to his home just in time for the siblings to start their training. He found them behind the house at their personal field and looks like they were about to start. Naruto and Narumi were there along with Kushina and Shizen. Naruto noticed that Kenzo wasn't there, but figured those idiots focus on him more since he managed to enter the finals instead of Naruto and Narumi. He shook his head because of it but decided to suck it up and get it over with it since he only came because Naruto asked him to. Naruto saw him coming, so she happily called him over so they could train together. He reached there, and that's when Kushina decided to talk. "Alright, since your father and Tsunade is busy at work while Jiraiya is training Kenzo and MT Maboku, not sure if I got it right. So for today, Shizen will teach Naruto and Narumi some medical ninjutsu while I go teach Naruto our Uzumaki Kenjutsu style." "Okay," said a somewhat happy Kushina, but was put down when Naruto said, "Sorry Uzumaki-sama, I would prefer using the style my brother taught me instead of yours, but I wouldn't mind a spar with you to test my skills." The girls were shocked at what he said, more so for Kushina since she heard that her own son doesn't want to learn her clan's Kenjutsu but that of someone else, but when she heard he wanted to spar, that somehow managed to smile a little, thinking that he might need some experience fighting other sword users, so she complied sadly. The rest of the girls decided to skip the lessons to see this match because they were curious on how Naruto would fare against one of the few top Kenjutsu users. Both of them stood opposite of each other as they got ready for the match. Kushina drew her blade and got ready in her Uzumaki stance, while Naruto just drew his sword and gave her a come here motion, which started the bout as both clashed in the middle of the arena. Sparks flew as both blades clashed, neither giving an inch for the other until both of them pushed each other, which caused both of them to skid a few feet back. Giving no breather, Naruto charged in and stabbed Kushina, only for her to sidestep as she countered with a downward strike, but Naruto jumped to the right to dodge it. He recovered to see Kushina coming at him with an upward slash, which he flipped backwards to avoid it. Once he landed, he had to block a strike aimed at his head. He pushed her and countered with a horizontal slash at her midsection, but she leaned back enough for it to pass her. They engaged in a clash once more, but Naruto grit his teeth a little before he quickly unsheathed the sword with his left hand and gave an upward slash. Kushina saw this and managed to dodge it by pushing Naruto back, which made the strike miss. She then dashed straight at him and gave a downward slash, which Naruto had to block by holding both swords up in an X formation. Thinking he left himself wide open, Kushina decided to give a Spartan kick at him only for Naruto's own leg to block it by kicking the leg to the side, and he followed it up by giving a kick to her instead, which connected. She flew a few feet before she regained her footing only for her to see Naruto coming at her with both blades in hand, and she thought that he was gonna try like what he did with Zabuza at Wave, but was shocked when Naruto threw one of his sword at her. Thinking quickly, she rolled to the side as the sword flew past her, but she had to block the stab aimed at her. She let the strike pass by her and was about to hit him with her fist, but he rolled to dodge it. Naruto regained his footing and both sword users stare each other down, waiting for the next move, all the while Kushina was thinking, I never thought Naruto-kun was this good. It was a good idea that I decided not to hold back because I would have lost if I did. Until she noticed Naruto was smirking, which confused her until he struck by dashing straight at her. She prepared for the attack only for him to skid a few feet in front of her, and he pulled back his left hand. Kushina was confused by his action until her senses told her to duck, which she did not. That became her downfall because Naruto capitalized by grabbing the sword which had ninja wire in it, and he did an upward X slash. Kushina blocked the strike, but the force was enough to disarm her, and it was over when Naruto put both blades on her neck ready to cut it clean off if she tried anything. Kushina, knowing this, raised her hands in defeat. The girls were stunned that Naruto could beat Kushina in a straight-up sword fight, and was brought out of it when Naruto started talking. I guess this was an okay spar for me, but a piece of advice: you should really get back in shape because from I can tell you were a lot weaker than you were in your prime, but I guess family life managed to mellow you guys out. Kushina was stunned at how Naruto was talking to her like that. Part of her felt some pride that her son got stronger, but the other was her habanero side who wanted to teach him a lesson in respect. Naruto sheathed his swords and walked out of there, but not before turning back to say, just so you know, I really wanted to get a sweet victory against you, so like I said, get back in shape because next time I am not gonna hold back, and whether or not you are ready I will show you all who is the weak one around here. That statement shocked everyone there as they saw him disappear into the house and wondered if what he said is true or not, and with that in mind they continued training for the rest of the day, not knowing that Naruto himself was watching them in the background. What if Neglected Naruto is a dragon rider harem? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.